Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song, in the old neighborhood. As the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream. The shadows of that time are cast beneath.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. Chukwa, welcome in the house. Audrey, guys, please make sure you hit the like. I want to welcome all of you to today's edition of the Afridamus Report. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, it's White History Month. We do, all July is White History Month. So, we would be playing that music, but please make sure you like this video and share. Ladies and gentlemen, I've done a similar topic on this one, a video conversation that came from a channel called The Jubilee. But this same conversation, I wouldn't even call it a conversation, it's a narrative. Because in case, like I've made it clear here over and over again, and I would ask the question, is Black culture the same as African culture? In fact, there's no such thing as quote unquote African culture. It's various ethnicities in Africa. The crazy part about this is, you would have people, literally, especially these blacks. What I'm saying here, this would offend them. Because, in reality, many, not all, but most, that especially push this, Negro culture, because the word is about the N-word, which I don't even understand. I used to always say, in America, the news is so hypocritical and, crazy. Here, everything is identity, everything is corrupt. And obviously, guess who eats that more than anybody? Most blacks, because of their history, because of coming from the bottom. But they were taught that us, the Africans from the continent, we are below them. That's how many are programmed. I've been saying it, and people are, oh man, Afridamus, you're just talking. But you guys notice the conversations that take place online. This N-word that they keep talking about, meaning nigger. Africans don't care about this word. I live here in the United States. I've been living here for over 20 years. Most Africans do not care about this word. But blacks, the whole world sees how hypocritical they are. They say they hate the word. But guess what? No one says this word more than themselves. They put it in songs. They call each other that. And then they turn around and say it hurts them. Oh, don't put the ER, it's A. First of all, if you're somebody with common sense, which most Africans that come to the United States I see are here for a mission, they have no interest in partaking in this hypocritical culture that is being pushed. Because I see you saying this word, when it fits, you say it, you make money off of it, but what they do is, these people that push this black culture, as you know, aka victimhood culture, this is not synonymous with most Africans you would meet. Most Africans would be ashamed to pretend this way. In fact, the type of conversations they push, where I'm from, for instance, you come in, you're telling somebody, oh, my ethnicity is better than yours. They truly believe this is how people talk. They think this is how other people think, but not realizing they've been lied to. Not all black people are the same. We all have different cultures. We all have different cultures. That is just the fact. But today I'm going to bring this conversation from the Kinganda channel, O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel, because you guys see, he says he wants to be the Repart podcast on the continent. And guys, there's nothing, worse than somebody trying to mute you. Us Africans, those of you that are watching me, if you're new here, please make sure you hit the like. But I'll give you a little background about the United States. The United States is a place that is very, very media driven. Very, very media driven. And in most of this media, they have to find a whipping boy, meaning the people they can talk down to. They have to give the audience red meat. So for the longest, that were the blacks and Africans synonymously. So when I first moved to the United States, some of the things I saw on American television, or how they describe people that come from the part of the world we come from, Africans from various African countries, is pretty crazy. People will ask you crazy questions. But I never ever got upset or anything. It was fascinating to me. I was like, wow, here we are, we live in Africa. We were thinking this, like materially, technology, obviously the place is advanced. Don't get me wrong. The place is advanced, is great whatsoever, but they are also very, very ignorant. I'm talking to the core. This is not just only a black, regular black. Most white people are ignorant to the core. They don't know anything about anything, apart from America. That's all they know. So this is why you run into many. All they do is to try to force you to identify with Africa being a country. White people, if you explain, will listen. They will listen. Blatts will in fact get mad at you, not even realizing that. Okay, so they're like, oh, what? You don't want to be black? Okay, if my skin color is not the indication, then what is? They're telling you ideologically, you have to be black. But what they are, I don't want to be that. Most Africans do not want to be the blacks. And they get offended by this. Because being black is not advantageous. And when I say this, it's a behavior pattern. It's not the skin color. It's a behavior. It's a form of thinking. That's what decides who is black and who isn't. It's not just your physical appearance. So this is why when they see you as an African, because they've been the weakest group, now they believe they got power over you. Because in this country, they use words to hurt each other. They create narratives to force you into fights. This is what they're used to. This is why you would see the blacks, they will come and say, can Africans say the N-word? Or they would blame anything on, try to blame it on Africans. I'm like, okay, it's about 50 million of blacks in America. If you put all Africans from different countries, it's about 4 million. So how are you going to tell me, oh, now all of a sudden those people are Africans, they're the ones doing this? But numbers and statistics and physicality, what we're seeing, completely contradicts that. I mean, I'm just being real. People, apart from like the hip hop culture, they see some of these young people try to mimic it. Other than that, nobody else. People do not have interest in quote unquote what they call in this black culture. This N-word, people do not care. People don't want to say, people don't care about saying this. People look at people that say this often like clowns. Why would an African be walking up? Maybe some young African who's been listening to rap music, the rap music, or if they're hanging around the blacks, sure, some of them, they might use it. But I don't see anybody, some African, no, you know what, I take that. We used to have a guy from Gambia who, he would sag his pants. And he only does that when he come around us. He's like, what's up, my niggas? We're like, you know what? Why don't you go to the hood with your people and do that over there? But even him, he was afraid to go there and be one of the niggers in the real nigger area. In fact, this black culture, this nigger culture that they are pushing, in fact, this is, to me, this just became the mainstream nigger culture. Because at one point, I remember back in the days, there's definitely a difference. There's difference between blacks. Now it's looking like more and more they're integrating everybody together and forcing it. They're forcing the nigger culture to be their culture. Because back in the days, like even when you're talking to some women, black women, something that they will let you know straight up, oh, I'm not ghetto. If they say I'm not ghetto, that means they're not ghetto. But if she say I ain't ghetto, that means she's ghetto. That's a fact. Black people, there's a difference between blacks. There's difference between blacks and niggers. I hope you guys know this. There's a difference. Even the blacks do not mix with niggers. Don't you guys know this? They do not. But now, there's a big problem in this quote-unquote black culture. There's a big problem. Now you don't even know who is the nigger or the black. There's no more difference. Because the fact of the matter is, just like the Mortisas, you guys know the light skin, I've given you their history here. The Mortisas, that's the mixed ones, right? The light skin ones. So back in the days, long time ago, so the Mortisas have always been at the top. So even in the East Coast, before, because the Negroes were picking cotton in the South. This slavery did not just start in the South. First, it was around the East Coast. It used to be tobacco, around, Virginia, all those areas. So those people have been freed for a while. So this is why when you go to New York area, Pennsylvania, in the East Coast, Northeast area, there's blacks there. Those were the first generation blacks whose ancestors were brought here. So they were free a while ago. It's not, because even if you read in Frederick Douglass's book, he wrote there how when he escaped, on the Chesapeake, he ran to New York. Back in the days, if you make it to New York or Philadelphia, those areas, you are free. But some of those slave owners, they used to pay bounty hunters to go hunt and kidnap you and bring you back to the South. So those blacks in the Northeast were free. They were free, right? So they had to have freedmen's papers. So, but long story short, after slavery, when it was abolished in the South in 1861, now guess who is the majority? The darker skinned blacks. They coming from the plantation. They are coming from the plantation, not educated, can't read, but they have the numbers. Now they are free. The Maltesers knew how to read from the get-go. So if you look at it, right after, during those times, they had black congressmen, senators, back in those days. And go look at all their pictures. Go check them and come back. Some of them literally would pass for white. They are from the Malteser tribe. So the Maltesers had to agree. They had to agree to identify as black so that they can have political power. Because the Maltesers, their numbers weren't more than the blacks themselves. So since the whites never accepted the Maltesers as part of them, you see all this equality you're talking about, you're hearing, that came from the Maltesers. Okay? That came from the Maltesers from back in those days. So the Maltesers, in a way, tricked the blacks, the dark-skinned blacks, So the dark-skinned blacks are the followers. If you notice, even today, the political office, even look at Barack Obama. You think if Barack Obama was black, that the blacks themselves will not vote him in. They will not. But now, over time, they know, like, okay, now the Maltesers are entrenched as black. This is why Rachel Dolezal, Kamala Harris, all these people are now, when they say I'm black, it doesn't mean skin color or the culture. That's not what it is. It is a political word. It is a political word. So the people that are the actual blacks are just the followers. They are just happy for their skin color to be the one to be pushed. Because think about, why would a black woman celebrate Halle Berry for being the most beautiful black woman? Why? Because Halle Berry is not black. Let's just be honest. If you're doing pageantry, do you think it would be fair to take like a typical African and compare her beauty to Halle Berry, a West African? It will not make sense. They are not the same people. It's not the same. It's not the same category. But in America, they've convinced people to go along with this. So when you come to America, sure, you learn, right? You take what is beneficial and what isn't. Because you take all of it as a grain of salt, because it is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which color, they all have their own different cultures. They do. They have the mainstream American culture and they have subcultures also. They have the subcultures in America. So now, if you coming from where I'm coming from, I'm from a country, from a tribe, my own ethnicity, my own culture. I see somebody from Kenya, I'm pretty sure is the same. You see, now, not only our skin color is the same, we're from the same continent, but not the same country, the same tribe. The only language we can communicate in, the mutual language, is English. So clearly, we're not the same. So to the blacks, you using the word different, they don't like that, even though they know that's the truth. And that starts making me think, whoa, wait a minute. these people are trying to deceive me, you know, because these people do not have a culture. They are all over the place. So if you're all over the place, people can pull you in any and every direction. Because if you don't have anything to stand on, you would fall for anything. This is why when like Black Lives Matter gets up, the blacks are now Black Lives Matter. When, you know, FBA comes, now they are FBA. You see? Like when the Hebrew Israelites come, they are Hebrews. Indian, I can name it. Native, you've seen it. So that's the result of that. But now let's come to the Pan-Africans, people that say they are Pan-Africans. We're talking about O'Shea today. He does these topics quite a bit. And unfortunately, he is trying to force feed Black culture on Africans to try to make it like it's the same thing, you know, when in reality, if you truly want to connect with people, just like me, like that's why I get along with all cultures, any people I meet, especially here in America, because I don't go and assume. I don't go and assume like, okay, these people, you know, just because they're Black, their culture is just like me. You know, what I'm into, that's what they're into. Like, I know. No, I do not. I do not meet Jamaicans and pretend like I'm a Jamaican. You know, we all Black. I'm not from Jamaica, right? Because the moment the pretense come in, it dilutes the conversation and makes the conversation foolish. You know, it makes the conversation foolish. You know, Raja say, I love my Black American culture. You should, as you should. I am not saying you should not. But once I bring the video, you know, because they say we were supposed to have open dialogue. But I know this conversation with Africans, quote unquote, it's not an open dialogue. It's like O'Shea is using his microphone. He's been doing this for a while to try to turn Africans into his whipping boy. You see? He's trying to turn Africans into his whipping boy. He wants to be the one to come and say, hey, look, let me straighten you guys, or try to force feed, you know, Negro culture onto people who do not care about it. This is just a fact. You have to give the person a reason to want to care about what you're trying to get them to care about. It's just plain and simple. Maybe if you have a genuine dialogue, and explain without always trying to force yourself to be the victim, without trying to make other people feel bad or saying they have to be responsible for your shortcomings, this is not real. Africans, you know, even people from war zones are not seeing themselves as victims. That's not how they are seeing themselves. So let me not waste time. As you guys know, we have video to do here, and it's White History Month. Okay? It is White History Month, so American royalty say, O'Shea is creating content just like Afridamus. Yes, that's what we are doing. And I don't want people to come over here and cry because some of the Blacks, they'll be, oh, you always talking about the Blacks. Well, the Blacks are always talking about us. In fact, when I play this video, you will see. In fact, doesn't this country have freedom of speech? How can you live in a country for over 243 years and you still cannot even follow the culture of the country? Oh, no, you do know. You do know. Blacks believe in freedom of speech only for themselves, but not for other people. So before people that come here and say, oh, you talking about us, well, If you are the person in this video who thinks like this, then sure, I am talking about you. And by the way, let me make this clear. When we say African, I get the picture people get in their head, but African is not a race. Not all Africans are black skin like me. Not all Africans have the same phenotype as me. As you guys know, there are Africans of different hues, different looks, different skin color, and not all Africans, were taken into slavery, just as not all Africans in those regions were slave traders. So this narrative that is, us versus you is pretty silly. So you're telling me, okay, simply, if just because I was born on the continent of Africa, that makes me, my ancestors, slave traders. That tells me you're just jealous of me. You're just jealous your ancestors were taking as slaves, if you ask me, because that cannot possibly make sense. Who is to say, if they didn't stop the slave trade till now, when I was born, I'm from that region, who's to say I wouldn't even be captured and sold into slavery if they've never stopped it? So the whole idea is pretty silly to begin with. So the conversation in itself is not based in reality. Look, I told you guys, I am a professor here, professor of Negrology. I study all these different cultures, and I'm not studying it from a biased point of view. I notice they would send Peace Corps into our countries, American Peace Corps, to go study. They would send anthropologists to go study our culture, write about it. That's how white people get information without even ever going there. So even though, you guys did not pay for me to come and do this cultural experiment, I took it upon myself to give you guys, the real information. Real information. I don't want people to sit here and try to, deceive Africans, because us Africans, we're ready to move on. We are ready to move on. We've been ready to move on. All that colonialism things you say, you think we care about that? We are not impacted by that one bit. All we know is they no longer are in charge. I'm sure some of you come and be like, oh man, they control the money. Sure. All that's telling me is we need to work a little bit harder. And we are doing that. So Africans, we need to be able to wake up mentally. To wake up mentally. We can't let people, try to narrate stories for us, or try to bring their story and force you to argue with them about it. What are you getting out of it? Absolutely nothing. They are going to bring slave stories to you. Slave stories is of no use to you, me, or anyone. I read it. It's a terrible thing, not only in the history of the people who came from them, from the part of the world we come from, where these people came from. That was a dark time in, that West African Central region history. It was a dark time. I mean, I'm thankful I wasn't born. You weren't born. None of us were born during that time. Rest in peace to all those who went through it. That's what the times called for. I can't go back and change it. You can't go back and change it either. And some of you that are crying, oh man, if I were there, I'm gonna go change it. They have slavery still. If you are that passionate, they have slavery in some parts of the world. Like literally, even in Africa, some parts, they have slaves. You can literally go do that. You see? So anyone that's coming to me, oh, you Africans should apologize. What do I need to apologize for? What did I do? I didn't do nothing to you. But this is the silly conversations they want to push onto you. You know, these people are going all the way to Africa. You're seeing clearly the electricity is not stable. You know, they are looking to get things going. You want to come and bring empty stories. Empty stories. Anyways, I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Let me do my copyright disclaimers here, and then we will get right into the show. Just a moment. Un momento. That's Spanish for hold on a moment. All right, por favor. Let me do my copyright disclaimers here.
Major announcement right now. The 1st of July is White History Month. So the whole month is White History Month from now on. Happy White History Month.
It's White History Month. I'm gonna celebrate with my friends. It's White History Month. So be sure to tell everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. But this month's gonna be White History. It's White Month, and I'm gonna celebrate American. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna scream it to everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate, but this month's gonna be White History.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's White History Month. July is White History Month, because you see in America they got all kinds of history except White History Month. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Shajat Yahoo Yasrael said, thank you for the super chat. He said, there is no need to apologize because we all were selling each other in slavery in Africa, somewhere related and somewhere. You are absolutely correct. You see, most of these people that try to push the opposite of that, it's like these people are addicted to victimhood. They want to feel, they just want to make somebody feel bad. So, all right, let us go to the video here from the Kinganda channel. This is fair use for analyzing purposes and educational purposes. So let us go right there. So here's the video, guys. So the question is, can Africans say the N-word without African Americans, without offending African Americans? Okay, truly, if a black person, a black American, a respectable black American who doesn't use this word, they don't identify with it, sure, if you're using it, they should be offended by it. And not only offended, they should correct you, not try to break down, but to correct you and let you know. You should have better manners. I'm pretty sure where you come from, you wouldn't, like, you guys don't do this, use this type of derogatory terms. And the person would know. Because some people who are not from here, they see this on TV, how black people sing, you call yourself this word in rap music. They see people calling each other this, so they think it's a term of endearment. And for you Africans, you better be careful. And they do this to white people too. These blacks, they would trap you. It's like they set you up so you say the word, because they are constantly looking for things to get offended by. So once you already know this, do not allow yourself to enter this type of conversations. Okay, it's best even if they say you coon, take that rather than engaging in this type of conversations. I mean, if the person got common sense, if they have common sense, they want to talk about it, they want to explain it, sure. But you best believe, most black, most, not all, as you can see here on the internet, they are not going to they're not interested in taking the time to explain it. They're already looking. They're looking for, mind you, this same person could have been listening to Lil Wayne not long ago. He was saying all kinds of N-word, right? Oh, they could be, listening to Little Boosie talking about shooting people. But once you say that N-word, that's the end of the world for them. So for the most part, most of these blacks, they are roaming around looking for attention, because the more you keep them in the conversation, the more relevant they would be. Because you look at it like, it's just like the LGBTQ people. Most people don't think about them. It doesn't bother you, what they are into, as long as they're not bringing it to you. You go by your business regularly, you probably don't even think about it. But if you go online and watch TV or see them, some of them, not all, the way they speak about it, you would think the whole country is LGBTQ, or everyone hates them. Because you see, when you put up the label to say people hate me, now that you're forcing those people to be your opponent. Because, genuinely, in an honest conversation, you go to the person, be like, to an African, oh, should the African say the N-word or not? Like, you come to me, I'll be like, why would I want to say the N-word? I don't care about that word. You see? But they would move the goalpost. Let's enter Kinganda. You guys will see exactly what I'm saying. And just like O'Shea is going to behave here, unfortunately, he's representing the blacks in Uganda. Let's just be real, okay? He's representing them. So if you are dealing with that, because humans is not only about, what you think. Social cues are important. You have to understand the people you're talking to, what you're talking about, what do they know about it? Do they care about it? And to be honest, it's totally okay not to care about like, you could be like, man, they bomb all my great grandfather. The person could be like, oh man, that's terrible. Of course it's a terrible thing, right? But they're not gonna care about it probably the way you think, because you are the one who have close proximity to that. You cannot be offended, because it's not other people's job to deal with your issues. These are your issues, but they are making it everyone's issue. So it started with the white people cannot say the N-word, to now to their fellow dark skin. We used to think it's dark skin. So now they've switched it to Africans. We are the others. We are the new white people. We are their new white people. But I will break it down for you. Here we go.
Guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Janita Mai, and this is the Read Path podcast. Now, I'll let this gentleman in their 40s introduce himself.
Oh!
And shout out to Kinganda, O'Shea, and the crew here for bringing in this conversation. That's brave of him, and that's cool. And I know some of you would probably think, oh man, Afridamus is, chastising or picking on O'Shea. No, this is not, I'm not picking on O'Shea. I want you guys to realize this. This is a conversation that includes all of us in the World Wide Web. Remember in the beginning, I told you, us Africans, everybody, they would talk about us like we are not even there, like we're not even hearing it. Like they would do this. Guys, do you know when I was in the 13th grade, how many white professors I had to, correct? I had to correct them. Because some of the things they say, like you can't just let that pass. Like, how the hell you just gonna label people like me who came from this vast place? You are talking about us. I'm here. Like you're talking about us like we're not even here. Like we're not hearing this. So that's what in this conversation, obviously O'Shea came from America. He's going to be talking about Africans that immigrated to America, which I'm one of them. So no one is more equipped to answer this than me. So I'm going to break this video down, to smaller pieces for you guys to be able to ingest it. So let us go.
Just had to. I just had to.
Well, they say age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah, let her know. Let her know, OG. Tell her OG. I hear
But yeah, man, back at it. It's the brother Babaluku here on the podcast, showing love. You know what I mean? I'm being here to build, connect, and inform, and also be informed.
Mm-hmm.
It's your boy Master Guys, man. Proudly in my 40s. I'm not old, I'm experienced.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We teach you a few things, Joe. We teach you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna learn out
I
here.
was appreciating it. You all got look 40. You look like you're in your 30s.
I know I look good. I don't know about him. But O'Shea, you still going on? I mean, I don't want to make you feel like you was irrelevant or anything. Did you still want to say something?
No, man, you got it. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I know he been going viral. He think he all that now, but I'm back. O'Shea Duke, El Paso Heights, 3800 block, Sacramento, California, African American.
All right. So see, that's the what O'Shea, the way he introduces himself. This is signed to show you like the black mindset is completely different from pretty much every other black groups I have met. Like they would, describe themselves from like a street, I'm from, representing Compton or 3800 block. Who owned the block? Oh, the white man owned all the property, right? So the same places like the country they don't like, when you meet them, that's how you know who is a, Blatt and who isn't. They would represent themselves by their street, by their block. That's just to point that out, because most of you probably think all blacks are the same, because you are going to meet some real blacks. You ask them, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. And I don't want you to end up being annoying or make them look like they are boring. Not all of them are like that. Some have sense. They don't just because you met this other blacks talking, oh, I'm from 3800 block, blah, blah, so, trying to talk that talk. No. That's just a nigger. That's it. That's just a Blatt, not a black American, just a Blatt. There's different groups. I just want to, make that clear. Here we go.
And we in the building.
On gang.
Don't make me start going on no gang. My mama watching, so I can't really throw up the hood. You know what I mean? She said, boy, you better stop doing that. I raised you better than that. Okay. So anyways, so shout out to Sam Ranch.
You see, he said he's representing his hood. I'm not lying. He just told you. And my thing is, I don't want people, we are learning, but the moment professors like me analyze these videos, some of the blacks would be upset when they shouldn't. Don't be ashamed of your hood now that I've pointed it out.
She's our producer for the Pan-African dating show. She actually sent me a clip about a very interesting topic in the diaspora, and that is the N-word. We all know what it means, but some people feel like Africans are okay with the N-word. And what I want to do is let me just say this, right? There was a very viral clip that happened on the podcast called Fresh and Fit. Mm-hmm. You saw that, Doc? Okay, and it was with some white supremacists by the name of Nick Wentz. Have you heard about that? Okay, so there were ladies.
So he's already calling white guy who have different opinions than him a white supremacist. You notice the blacks, they talk tough. They can handle everything. They talk tough to other people, Africans. But when it comes to white people, they cower down and start giving them superior names like white supremacists, It could be like a skinny white woman. They would right away assume the inferior position. You see? And I've observed this. So it's funny when they say it's Africans, it makes me laugh. I'm like, that's not been the experience. Yes, I've seen Africans who kiss, white ass. I've seen that. But commonly here, we will get into it. Commonly, what I've seen, I don't have to tell you. You guys are here on the internet. You are hearing who is so mad at their God not paying attention to them that now they're insulting it. So he's calling the white man white supremacist from the get-go. This is a young white dude, but he thinks he's superior. Let's go.
There that are encouraging him to say the N-word. Now I'm going to play this clip. You guys probably not see it. You'll see when the podcast comes out, right? But we're going to beep out the N-word. So we'll play that clip right now.
Yeah, what you got?
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Is anyone going to hit me if I say it?
No. Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right.
Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right.
Okay, so even though you didn't see the clip, these are ladies encouraging him to say it, the white guy, right? But we feel in the African American.
Did you notice the word he just used? He said, we feel. So I don't want you guys coming here talking about I'm generalizing. He's the one talking this way. We feel. He's generalizing. So feelings are not real. Feelings and facts are two different things. And the blacks are mostly in their feelings. This is why they are mostly wrong. So he's going to tell us, them the blacks, how they feel.
American community, there is no way that those women, although they're American, they would have to be Caribbean or African.
Did you hear this? Let me debunk O'Shea on this here.
Because there's a thing that when people say the N-word and it's a white racist, sometimes Africans believe you're talking about these guys who got stolen in the slave trade.
You're not talking about us.
Those are not our people.
All right. First of all, I live here in America. If a white person uses the N-word, there's consequences for the white person. It's the truth. There's consequences. So why would a white person, want to go around using this word? I've never seen a sane white person using this word. Why would a white person be comfortable to say that word to an African who's blacker than anything? And they don't know him. That doesn't even make sense. But let me go further. Let me debunk O'Shea. He said, those women that told the white guy to say the word, they have to be African, right? They're either African or Caribbean. Have you noticed? What pattern have you seen with most of the blacks that you deal with? When they say unity to you as an African, what they mean by unity is, we are going to come and lecture to you. You have to see us above you. Because for the longest they've been dealing with the white man. Now they think they want to force themselves onto us and make themselves the moral authorities above Caribbeans and Africans, which is not possible. But he's saying these women, he has no proof. He is basing it off of feelings. Let me show you a video here. Let me show you a video to debunk 100% what O'Shea said here. I have a video. There's a white man named Gary Owens. Gary is a white comedian. Gary had a beef with Michael Blackson. Michael Blackson, who's a African from Ghana. He's a comedian too. So Michael Blackson cracked some jokes on, Gary. And it was funny jokes. Let me show you what Gary's comeback was. It has everything to do with this N-word. Him being the white man, he could not say the N-word. You know, let me show you, because he said it is African. Those women are African women. And I will assure you, these are Black American women, because they want the white man to say it, because this is their culture. They grew up in this. They think it's funny for the white man to say it. This is just their culture. Why would an African care to tell a white man to say it? Why? It just doesn't make sense. But now let's see the collaboration between a white man and his, black wife, ex-wife, against an African. Watch this. Here we go. Let's debunk O'Shea's. So this is Gary Owen with his wife, Kenya Duke. Have you noticed they like calling themselves by royalty dukes? They want to be dukes, right? So you mean to tell me, even though she faked it and gave herself the name Kenya, they love the Kenya very much. So clearly, even though her name is Kenya, we know she ain't no Kenyan. That much we know. We know she's not from Nigeria. Nigerians don't call themselves Kenya. Okay? We know she's not from Gambia, because we don't call ourselves that. Even Kenyans themselves do not name themselves Kenya. So apparently this Kenya is from the Duke tribe of Kenya. This is what they want us to believe. But let's hear what Kenya and her white zaddy have to say.
Michael Blackson, I saw your little weak comeback where you said I smell like a wet dog. Well, my dog's wet. Smells amazing. Yeah, I kissed her. White guy stuff right there. Also, I heard you said I won't say the N-word back to you. You dared me. I ain't got to say it back. My lady will say it for me. I got a down-ass chick.
Did you guys hear that? Michael Blackson, an African, dared the white man. He told the white man, he said, you're not going to call me the N-word. You're not going to say it back to me. But look at what the white man did. He went and got him. Guess who? Exactly, you guessed right. The Black Queen. Let's hear what Black Queen does.
Michael Blackson, you punk ass.
Nigga.
Ho. Michael Blackson, you bitch ass.
Nigga.
God, I wish I could say it. Now maybe some dinner, baby.
Who are you talking to? Who talking like that?
No, I want to eat. I'm gangster mode.
It's not about you. It's about that black nigga. Okay? It wasn't about you. Let the damn dog go.
Gangster mode.
All right. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? I didn't even have to go far to debunk this lie that has been spread about saying, oh yeah, those ladies on Fresh and Fit, we feel. Well, over here, we don't feel. We clearly see what happened here. So it's funny, right? So Africans, they are questioning, oh, can Africans say the N-word? What did you guys just see? A black bed wench collaborating with her white zaddy. Guess who they were calling the N-word? You guessed it right. The Black African. Guys, you can never make this up. Look at who he collaborated with. Oh no, he collaborated with Bonquisha. No, I shouldn't even. Bonquisha, forgive me. I shouldn't even bring your name into this because you did not do this one. Forgive me, okay? Forgive me. Yeah, Kenya. Ruined the name of the country of Kenya while bedwenching. So you all see that, right? So we've debunked O'Shea's point here. Let us go back to the video and hear more of the conversation that O'Shea is about to go into. Here.
So you ain't talking about us. So you say whatever the hell you want. We're not offended by it. So since you brothers have lived in the diaspora, I want to get your points of view, especially Agaba, Agaba is almost like an honorary African American. That's why the people coming home with him on TikTok, go back to America, you black American. They don't know you from Uganda, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He was born in America, born and raised. So technically he is from America, because in the American law, if you are born here, you are an American. I mean, added up to raised here. Oh yeah, most definitely. So most of the blacks, when you're talking to them, like, you notice even Africans, Caribbeans who were born here, you know, they do a backhanded compliment. You were born here, but these people refuse to acknowledge you being an American. You know, they always try to throw you back to that. When in reality, the African is thinking, you're silly. I go by the American Constitution. It don't matter what you think or say. You don't have power. The Constitution have power. That's what we go by. But okay, let's continue.
So you know. So, but what do you guys? Let's start with you, Babaluku. Like, is that the African perspective on the N-word?
I think when you say the African perspective, there's no African perspective on the N-word, man. It doesn't exist here.
Okay, great.
It's only extended via pop culture effects, and it's infused in lifestyles that people emulate. So then they carry on the language and tonality of what they're emulating on television.
Did you guys see that? This guy is brilliant. So he said, those of you that are from the diaspora. So we live here in the diaspora, right? So like Jonita that's sitting there, she's never been to America. Or the other people they bring, they've never been to America. So they don't know the reality, the facts. So this guy is laying it out. There's no, that narrative doesn't even exist. The only time you would hear these people hear the N-word, it would be from you people yourself, when you put it in your music that you call artwork. But then you get offended when the people sing it. Okay.
But when I go in a hood right now, it's not like you're gonna find a villager calling you, hey, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
You know, if I shoot you 2 hours drive from here, it does not exist. So what does that say? It's not a narrative. So we actually need to frame this like this. Most media hits urban centers. So in Kampala, if you're only in Kampala, which is the capital here, yes, you will see young people who are emulating their African-American lifestyle, utilizing this word as an adaptation of something cool. Some of them don't even know what it carries or what it means. I have guests here from Washington that came through. We happen to go to the craft market, and this old lady comes out and I say, hey, niggas, come to me.
Oh, wait.
Now, hold up. Now, in the car, we were just talking about the N-word before that happened.
Look, here's the thing. You know, I've always believed in sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never will. That's what happened when you take everything to heart. It makes you irrational. And if you're a black person, you're traveling international, you have to understand the type of, you know, culture that is being pushed on television at these places, you know, that they call black culture. Some of you have come online here to try to tell, oh yeah, you know, we're popular in all these places, but look at who is being popularized in these places. The people that are being shown as your representative. Are you sure you don't want to go back and check? Why would you be shocked if that woman called them that? Because that's what is being shown. It's not like it's shown as a negative thing to them. You know, they see it is being shown as something that is cool. That's what they think it is. So that's when you have to take the time as a smart person and explain to them, like, hey man, what you're seeing on TV, that's not the reality. That's not cool. We don't approve of this. But since if you're around most black people, I've heard people say it. They said it's like feeling like you got to walk on eggshells. Every little word pisses them off. You never know what's going to piss them off. Most people are exhausted. They don't want to deal with people that think like that. It's like everything is just you give it a negative meaning, even though you are selling it to the world. But here we go.
Wait a minute.
You know, but because of the energy. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not laughing, but that sounds like something that would happen on like a Keenan Ivory Wayans movie or something back in the day. So you're saying that that's what it sounds like, man. Like, I'm gonna get you, sucker. Yeah, or a Marlon Wayans. Yeah, it sounds like one of those things. You know what I mean?
What I recall is that when they heard that, and according to the conversation we're having in the car, which really was alluding to how they don't like to affiliate with that energy in that word.
It's African Americans, right? These
Yes,
African Americans.
yes.
Okay, you was hosting
so we listen. They're in Africa, in all places.
Oh my God!
Right, you have come to the continent in all places. You're running away from a certain, energy word that you don't want to utilize.
Yes,
and then someone wants to sell you something by calling you that exact word. So my folk were like, yo, we're not buying from her. Doesn't matter what's happening. Now, whether I could explain to them that she doesn't understand what has happened and how she's using it, it didn't matter at that time.
Yes.
The trauma and the connection, I'd already cut that off.
Right.
But I also know that she did not do it to malice or, she comes out of that place. She thinks it's a lovable word because she hears people use it. So she figured they're different. They look like they. Even me, when I came here, a lot of people used to call me, you look like a nigga, and I used to kind of refrain, and I'm like, listen, you might want to call me a king versus that.
But why did they say you look like? But what was it about you?
I was sharing with you that due to the media resets of the information they've received on television via all this music we're watching, all these movies that are coming out, right? That's the power and influence of media. So I wouldn't want my peers in Africa.
Do you guys hear what he said? So this rap music, this nigger culture is what's been exported. And how many blacks have come up here when they talk about their prominent people? Who are the people they tell you about? Exactly, those same people that say that word. Yeah, those are the representatives. And those people are seen as big. So how are you going to get mad at some foreign lady who, she doesn't know that, she don't know the meaning of the word. She's seen it on tape. She's seen you guys yourself. You're saying the word. And you make it look cool. So she thought she was being cool. I mean, when you go to these places, you'll be amazed because most Americans, especially blacks, they have this self-importance. They think that people should know who they are. People know their history. No, most people do not know about even America other than what is shown on TV. They really don't.
In the Americas to think that Africans are calling you nigger because they understand the history of the word. They don't have a clue on what that definition is. Matter of fact, most often when you school them, they'll drop it quick.
Oh,
they will not even go ahead and say that to you again. So I think that we have to have that contrast of knowing what information has done over time. Other than that, like no one is out here in Africa trying to be a nigger. Like you're free. Like you're free out here.
It's very funny that you say that. I was thinking in my mind, the first and only time I remember being called a nigger in Uganda. I was in a supermarket. This is 2005. I was in a supermarket with my dad. We were in Garden City. I think it was Uchumi Supermarket at the time. We were checking out, and the guy who was bagging up the groceries, I was wearing a sleeveless t-shirt, like a cutoff tee. And I had tattoos on my arms. And the guy was like, "You look like a nigga." I was like, "What?" But the guy was smiling like, the guy was smiling. He's like, "I like your tattoo. You look like a real nigga." I was like, "Okay, so you think I look like an American?"
So in that case, that means because what those guys see, they see basketball players, they're tattooed up. They see the rappers, they're tattooed up. That's their, closest thing to an American person. And then, they don't really interact. They don't see American people. It's just on TV. So when he was saying to him, "You look like a nigger," meaning meaning Black American, because that is what is portrayed on television. So I'm glad he's got common sense. He didn't get pissed off thinking, "Oh, did you just call me the N-word?" No, he thinks it was cool. You know, the guy thought it was cool. He didn't mean to. He's not being malicious. He's not being rude. He's in fact admiring the guy.
Hip hop,
You have an
a
image of some sort.
representation
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
image.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it badly. I was like, okay, cool, you know. But to be honest with you, like I've never really encountered too many instances where, except for, you know, in situations where it's young people trying to really force themselves to appear and sound and talk like American hip hop artists, they don't use the word. It's not used. I just don't hear it. You know, I don't hear it in the community, in the young community. I just don't hear it. You know, unless you're heavily influenced, unless you're one of those people who's gone to school there, lived there, grown up there, and through that experience, it has just entered your pattern of speech as a slang word to mean my guy or whatever, you know.
Right.
But you know, my nigga or whatever. But to call that guy is a nigga, no.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't exist. I will say this though. I will say this. Oh man, and you're gonna love this, and you're probably gonna want to clip this too. But
hold on a second. Story time music.
So you know, I love my dad, man, and he's one of like the best influences in my life in terms of were not necessarily the most articulate and well-spoken individuals, guys who you would say act ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Those are the characteristics that I would say Africans associate with what look like, sound like, feel like, what the experience of interacting with what a white person would look at a black person and say, these are unfavorable characteristics in you. That's what a nigga must be like. And because you don't identify with that, because you don't relate to that, and you don't necessarily appreciate the journey. Somebody, again, in the comments was schooling me to
they've been dealing with you over in the comments.
Yeah, they've been dealing with me. They've been educating me, man. But it's all right. We're all here to learn from each other. So of course, there's a whole conversation around the systemic conditions that have led to what do I say? Disenfranchisement in the urban community.
Yes.
Right? If you will allow me to just generalize it like that.
Yeah.
So not be too long-winded about it. But disenfranchisement and, you know, substandard conditions in terms of education and schooling and access to certain things that, you know, other portions of the American population you know, have access to, or lack of access, or what have you. So I would say, for me, Africans could look at people within that community who reside within that community and paint them with a broad brush. And those are niggas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then when you have the hardworking, productive, civilized, you know, well-spoken, you know how folks like to get to get not offended, but you take exception to the fact when a white person tells a black man, "Oh, you're so articulate."
Oh yeah. Oh, I hate
so
that.
well-spoken. You know what I mean?
My.
You know, I don't know why some of you, you know, pretend to, you know, to be offended by that. I mean, have you heard how most black people in America speak English? They are not that articulate. Let's just be real. I've seen it. They are not that articulate. So of course, even other you know, black people, when they see a person, some of you that are watching me have seen people that look a certain way, and when they're articulate, people act all shocked, because generally people who come from that group, majority of them are not that articulate. So it makes sense to be shocked. But let's continue.
God.
So when an African looks at a black American person and sees that representation, those aren't niggas.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The niggas are the guys who you fear when you see them coming across the street and you try and roll up your windows and lock your doors and clutch your purse and hide your shit. You know? So are Africans allowed to say the word nigga? I just don't think it's relevant.
It's relevant.
I don't think it's relevant. It's not one of those things that guys.
So you notice how the type of words like the blacks would use, these are called power words. See, I'm very, very versed in words. There's a reason why people use certain words. See, allow Africans to say it, meaning they are making themselves powerful to say. They get to decide who says it or who cannot. But this is not even an issue. It is not an issue. That's the whole point. Like, Africans are not going around using that word. So it's a false narrative. Imagine even the mindset, like, okay, the blacks, the word nigger came from negrito, meaning black person, black in Spanish. Guess who were the first people they called that? Africans. How can a more diluted group of people decide for pure thoroughbreds, that you can use that word? Why would it's a false narrative. I'm just trying to, paint critical scenarios, but like, you can decide who can say it or cannot. You don't have the power. But it just shows you how in America people are soft, super soft. Super soft. They get offended by everything and anything. So for most Africans, you came here on a mission. Why do you want to waste your time and energy around this? It's not going to serve your purpose. It doesn't serve your reasons why you are here. You didn't go across the Atlantic just to come and, say that word or care about it. If you want to care about it, you want to go fight about it, go right ahead.
Used as a weapon.
Yep.
It's used because of misinformation.
Yeah.
It's used because the lens through which you look at people who exist in a culture that is so different from yours that lens is colored. That lens is blurry. It's not a crystal clear lens. So I just think because of that, sometimes it can be said, but not badly.
Yeah, I for one, I'll defend my Africans. Let me defend my people. I, like you two have said, I don't think when an African says the N word, I don't think they're coming from I don't think they have bad intentions with it. Like you said, it's misinformation or not knowing something. I'll give you an example. When we were in high school and we're teenagers, so like we had kids who used the N word, and it's like, oh, they're talking amongst each other, so they're calling themselves the N word. And then if he wanted to like be rebellious, he would call the teacher the N word. But these are kids that are seeing this in songs. It's in the music, the music they listen to, the music videos they watch. That's what they're seeing. Then another scenario is my mother. Oh, okay. I think I can talk about her. My mom, when she would tell you, oh, don't stay away from those kids like who act like nigga. Like I said, who act like the N word. She just
it means just like pookies, So literally here in America, they have pampered the black. It don't matter how some of these people act. You are not allowed to, you're not allowed to say, if you're a black person, you're not allowed not to say you don't want to associate with that. So pretty much what they are saying is, okay, these are dictators. They dictate to the blacks what to identify with. So they want to dictate it to you instead of just accepting and realizing, no, you are not the same as everybody. You've lived mostly with white people. This is where your culture is from. This is like, when I came here, I'm just being honest, like I didn't see many things the blacks do that I'm familiar with. Their culture is not the same as our culture. We do things differently. That's just a fact. Just like I see somebody from another African country, we do things differently, but we tend to be much, much closer with, like, let's say, identify with somebody, let's say from Nigeria more. I mean, some Nigerians I've met, I don't know what area they are from. I cannot relate to anything they are doing. I've never seen that where I come from. So people are different. That's just given, and that's not a bad thing. We're different because the environments we come from, our life experiences, our culture, our education, socioeconomic status. I mean, if you ask me, people are individuals, and people identify with people for different reasons. You see, different reasons. But the crazy thing is, if you want to run around thinking because you were told, I mean, just simple common sense should tell you, if you're the slaves that you came from, ancestors were taken, brought to America about 400 years ago. I mean, it's not an insult for you to acknowledge that you're definitely not the same African anymore. I mean, that's just common sense, right? I remember when we were kids, when I was a kid, right? I watched the movie Roots, and I watched it from, they did like over here in America, in my state, they call it, the drive-in theaters. Like, you would drive, sit in your car and watch the movie is high up. But, we didn't have cars, but this was the in the town center, they were playing the movie Roots. So a bunch of people would come. We were watching different episodes of Roots, and more, some people were getting upset because they never knew that story whatsoever. But we kept watching it. We would watch. So I noticed, right? As the episodes keep going, when it went up to where Kunta, they called him Toby, right? He had a daughter named Kizzy, and Kizzy had a son named Chicken Judge. So once Kunta died, and eventually you can see the following episodes that were coming. Once Chicken Judge had kids, then they started the people they started showing, it went from the darker skinned blacks to the lighter, like the Motisa. Now they became Motisa tribe. And I swear, once it got to the part where now they've been diluted and it's the lighter skinned Motisa, more and more of the people there, my people, they lost interest. They were not coming to watch anymore. It was just me and a few other kids and some adults who were still interested in coming to watch, because I wanted to see the end of the story, So I was coming to watch. But majority of the people, once the tribe became light-skinned, they lost interest. I think that was funny, but let's go.
Like, stay away from the kids who are rebellious and who have like a bad rap shit, Stay away from those kids, because then they're going to influence you to also do bad. So to her saying that, as someone from her generation who wasn't that well exposed, it's more like this, all she knows is the media. The media portrays, like, even the hip-hop songs, when they're singing and they put the N-word, they're just like, sorry to say, like showing off guns or doing something or trying to rob someone. And it's like a whole script of them doing what they're doing and portraying that this is what the N people, I don't want to say the word, this is what they're doing, using that N word. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think they're being evil with it. I just think they're just misinformed. But I've heard some Africans use the N word when they're pissed or mad. So it's not like, okay, let me just say it. Excuse me for this. No, nigga, please, like,
Okay.
But it's from a song. There's a song. No, nigga, please, So it's like, oh, please, like, nigga, please, like, stay away from me. What do you mean? That's ridiculous, So I don't think.
So did you see that? So obviously, if you look at it, you go to these African countries. In fact, Astro say Afridamus hates how a dark-skinned woman looks at light skins like me. No, I do not. Trust me, Astros, I do not. My son, he light skin. Okay. No. See, I'm just explaining, how it was. But she is correct. Most of these people, like you see, like even when I went to Gambia, right? I was there last year. You guys remember? And, I'm glad American royalty is here. American royalty, you would remember, especially. Remember when I was telling you the story over here that when I was in Gambia, some of these people thought I was the N-word, but I knew they didn't mean it in a bad way, because they thought that's in their way, that's like saying American. And it was American royalty who was saying, oh man, Afridamus, that's not true. That didn't happen. But you see these two guys here, they're telling you, and they're African too, is the same thing. The same thing. So here we go.
And most of the Africans are not, are not well, the information out there about where the word originated from is not well communicated to Africans. But then I'll also flip the script and say I would, in a certain way, also blame African Americans, because when we see you guys interact and use the N word,
Yeah.
it's like your besties, your buddies, like this is your thing.
Mhm.
What's up? You know, like you're just like,
Mhm.
oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. Come here. You understand?
Mhm.
So when we see something like that, like, oh, that they're not saying it as a bad word,
Yeah.
they're saying it as a form of communication. Like these are brothers, and they're just
Mhm,
it's just a word that
mhm.
they're using. So when an African sees that, maybe they think, oh, maybe that's how it's a normal word that we can also use. Yeah.
I'm about to push back on you Ugandans today. We're gonna have a little bit of tribalism.
All right. So you notice O'Shea said tribalism. That's another word. You guys remember the blacks, they like to use tribalism a lot. You know, because I think they are jealous of, you know, African tribe. They, you know, like I see the longing for some of these people. They wish they could be a tribe, part of like the African tribe again. And, you know, nothing wrong, you know, nothing wrong with that. But you cannot force yourself into a tribe. So therefore, O'Shea, you guys know this from, remember they used to have the Sunday Rumble. So he wants to form themselves to say they are a tribe, black tribe, you know, which is fine. But there will never be your tribe versus any other tribe in the continent. Like, why? That doesn't even make sense. If you say this is you guys' tribe, sure, you'll be looked at as that. But nobody would have beef with you because you don't have any historical beef with them, you know, because where I'm from, my part of Africa, ethnic groups, tribes have connections with each other, things they know to be, they joke with, and people are not running around with baggage having oppression. So despite what you guys want to believe, like when you talk to most tribes, when they are giving you their history, their history is not about being oppressed. Their history, they were not enslaved. Their history, they would tell you they were conquerors. You know, their great-grandfathers. For example, like my history, there's no slavery in my bloodline. I'm not just saying this. We were never oppressed. We don't have any story of oppression. Nobody ever conquered us. I mean, our empire got conquered. Every empire must come down at one point. But we do not, I haven't met Africans from any part of Africa, you know, that would talk about their history as being slaves. Jamaicans, even the Jamaicans, Caribbeans, you know, like I've listened to reggae music, you know, my whole life. They use their history to uplift themselves. They talk about how free they are. But with the blacks is the opposite. And for most of us, before you ever came to America, what is promoted and what you see is different. Because when you read and you see how the blacks are moving, you're confused because they are saying they are oppressed, but you cannot identify with them because they are the only black group that I know that were up, you know, that fight so hard. You know, like they are not fighting to separate from their quote unquote oppressor. They are fighting to integrate more, to be accepted, to be seen as equal, you know. And this request, they are requesting this from the group they say is their oppressor. So if you are an intelligent person, come from Africa or the Caribbean, you know, you are well read, you are observant, and you were in Africa, someone like me read history, especially like with the Haitian Revolution, you know, history buffs like me, you know, that's what we used to push and say, look at the Haitians freed themselves. We talk about the Jamaican Maroons, listen to Bob Marley, we talk about the Buffalo Soldiers. even though the Buffalo Soldiers, were used to wipe out the Indians. The blacks have blood on their hands too, but that's a different topic. So nobody is going around talking this oppression. But then we become confused when you come to America, supposed to be the richest and they say the strongest people, right? The blacks. But that's not the vibe you're getting. That is not the vibe. So you're like, wait a minute. What? Okay, if these people are oppressed, why are they fighting so hard to integrate with their oppressor? It makes no sense. It's like us when we were telling, our people were telling the British, we want our independence. Well, yeah, we want it, but we just want you guys to, stay around here. We share the power, you get to decide, what to give us or what not to give us. You see? So in this day and age, especially, mind you, the slaves here have been freed since 1861. That's like quite a long time. So African countries, these countries are brand new. Some of our countries are not even it's not even 60 years old. So Africans are way more closer to that. Like, look at South Africa. South Africa was under apartheid until 1994. Until 1994. Imagine, like today, the South Africans, hey, yeah, you can say whatever, you want, but you're not having a conversation with South Africans for the most part, telling you, victimizing themselves, saying it's because of apartheid. No, the South Africans are like, no, you're not gonna do this over here. We're gonna fight and fine. You guys can, the deal, eventually they signed it. You can stay here. But the South Africans, they're not trying. I've never read so far where the South Africans are saying we are trying to move into the white neighborhood. No, they want to take the land. They say the land belongs to them. They want to take it and kick the white people out. That's the general consensus. But it's the opposite in Black America. They are saying these are our oppressors, but we want to move into their neighborhood. We want to get white women. We want to eat in their restaurants. We want to shop in white people's store, ride in the white people's car, all of that. And I have nothing against that, people. I do not. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. But don't come to me telling me how you are fighting these quote unquote white supremacists. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you begging them. Because like what? Oh, I'm going to come and match with you. The moment the white people are like, all right, you can move into the neighborhood. He African, he can't move in. I'm not trying to do all of that. Not that I'm trying to move in. I can afford to live wherever I want. So, but here we go.
And Doc, who's African American here, he gonna be my cheering corner. I think the problem that African Americans don't have an issue with blacks saying the N word, but let's talk about in proximity to those who are around whites. Here's what we see in the African American community.
I am in proximity to whites. So therefore, he'll be talking about people like me. Let's make it clear. He said he's from Del Paso Heights, right? He's saying it's a hood. It is safe to say he did not grow up with white people. I realize most blacks, especially when I worked in the prison, and most blacks, generally, most that you see, talk a certain way. They've never even, they're not around whites like that. They didn't grow up with them. They're not around them like that. So he's going to speak on people like me because I'm in close proximity to white people. So I would validate or not validate what he's saying if he's speaking facts. Here we go.
When we see people, when whites are saying the N-words, let's say something about somebody like, for an example, this is not all the way equal, but Doja Cat. you know, Doja Cat was on streams with white racists and things like that. She's half South African, half Jewish. Okay. We have seen certain evidences of Africans around white people who say the N-word and they are not offended. And we got to be honest. I like the excuses that you guys are giving, but y'all know what happened to our people. You know. We know. The reason why we know is because Museveni just apologized about it. And y'all keep saying, we need you to come what? Back. When you say Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and you see us a black person like you, Mike Tyson, what do the Africans say?
So here we go. The victimhood thing is about to start, right? So he said Doja Cat. That name doesn't sound like an African name to me. If Museveni, who is the president of Uganda, by the way, history doesn't show that Uganda, you know, was affected by the transatlantic slave trade. You know, they had, you know, their people went into the Arab world. Who, you know, that's who, and, you know, not only the blacks, everybody, all blacks, Jamaicans, Haitians, you know, everybody. He is saying he apologized for the role that the, you know, African leaders at the time played in, you know, selling other Africans. You see? So Museveni, as a statesman, making that apology, that doesn't translate to all Ugandans now all of a sudden know about slavery. That doesn't mean that. Even if they do, how, you know, why is that important? But let me show you who Doja Cat is. Okay? Let me show you who this Doja Cat is. You guys remember what I was telling you? He said she's part South African and part Jewish. So who is more racist than these FBA people? You notice. So because her father, one of her parents is South African, the other, maybe those are even American, right? But these FBA people truly think they are the indigenous people of America. They don't want to acknowledge, you know, a woman who is an American, born and raised in America. It's not like, I don't even think because sometimes you would hear people say, oh, I'm South African and this. You come to find out the South African part they are claiming is a 23andMe South African. Like because here in America it's crazy. Some of these people, imagine, they can invent a whole new identity. You guys have been seeing that, right? It's been played in the world stage. This is very normal for some of these people. They can create a whole new identity. It is allowed here in America. You can legally go to the court and change your name. Do you guys know this? Yeah, they do. But here we go. This is who Doja Cat is. Oh yeah, Doja Cat, she looked very, very Nigerian to me. That's right. Yeah. This is Doja Cat. Okay? So, did you guys see Doja Cat? That is who Doja Cat is. That's right. So let's go back to the video. So he's trying to say, so he's using Doja Cat, who I think saying half South African. And guess what, guys? Doja Cat is an American rapper. That's right. Doja Cat is an American rapper. Did you guys remember, you know, where do Africans learn the N-word from? In rap music. Okay? So, all those rappers that say the N-word, but Doja Cat, because her father is South African, you know, so you gotta hate on Doja Cat. Wow. And also, let me speak on Museveni. Let me see. Bekisi4. He said Museveni is about to lose ID from the USA because of LGBTQ issues. Now he's looking at scamming the Blatts, the apologies. Oh my God. Hey, you read my mind. That's what I was just about to say. That's the conclusion I came to. Museveni is engaged in a battle with the American LGBTQ section government. None of you are strangers to this. You know, they are putting their foot on Museveni's neck. So Museveni knows this is the internet age. Who is the soft and weak link in the USA? Who can you entice? Who is easily swayed by words, or who, even if you show them a little bit of love, they would run to your side? That's right. He figured, hey, when Ghana say come, they run. They're looking for a place to be at. So he said, let me apologize for slavery. That's the word see, the Jamaicans, have you noticed one thing? Jamaicans, Haitians, these other people, all these countries that are saying that, even Ghana, if they say they apologize, do you see the Jamaicans running around saying, oh man, check this out, they apologize? No. It's only one group. And that group is who is targeted. And guess what? They bought it. Museveni is being strategic. Hey, let me tell you guys something about Museveni that you don't know. Do you think Museveni, became the longest serving president in Uganda just for the hell of it? Oh, the Ugandan people are like, hey, check this out. Museveni is the best guy. Let's vote him in. That's not what happened in the beginning. Back in the days, Museveni came to power through the barrel of the gun. He did not beg. Let me tell you that. He didn't beg. He marched from the bush in the forest. Paul Kagame used to work under him as intelligence. Paul Kagame grew up in Uganda. He's a Rwandan, but he was a refugee for like 30 years in Uganda. He's basically a Ugandan. He joined the army, became intelligence under Museveni's rebellion, to remove, Obote. So he came to power back in, I believe, 83 or so. So Museveni have had his grips on that power for such a while. And I don't blame him. If I put my life on the line and march, go against Obote's army and win, I'm going to hold on to it. So now he's in his old age. He is fighting still. So the blacks have just become his new allies because the blacks are super touchy, right? So now you would see soon this speech is very important because this speech is going to serve eventually. The blacks are going to, because they're always looking for a way to hate on the whites. So this speech is going to help Museveni eventually, because once they start pushing certain boundaries with him, the blacks will start coming out and protesting and talking. And they're not gonna say, man, we protested for Museveni. They're gonna say Africa. So now Museveni would become the president of Africa. But here, let me continue. Give me a moment. Let us continue. So let's see where O'Shea is gonna go with this. He said Africans, no, they do not, sir. That I can tell you, they do not.
What do Burna Boy say? We want it to be like them. Well, why are they there? What's the biggest music genre in Uganda?
Afrobeat.
No, besides that,
Hip-hop.
it's dancehall.
Oh.
You think the Africans don't know that? What about the Africans in South Africa? Do they know about?
Guys, this is O'Shea is asking the dumbest questions. He said, Burna Boy said, oh, we want to be like them. Okay. How did these people get over there? I mean, shit, maybe they took a plane. I mean, that's one way. My point is, no African is sitting over there thinking about how did these Caribbeans get to the Caribbean island. Nobody's worrying about that. No one is worried about how Michael Jordan got to America. He was born here in America. His grandfather was born here. His great-grandfather was born here. Okay? Unless if he left Congo like Mutombo, we would assume he hopped on a plane. So the way blacks got to this place is either by boat or plane, or you were born here. That's how, back then it used to be boats. Now we've advanced to planes. So I don't get his point, but let him keep going.
What happened to Amapiano? Do y'all know what happened to their people? Africans know what happened to them.
Oh boy.
So why do Africans act like you don't know? You do know what happened. Now we're trying to give Africa a pass, and y'all know what happened to us. You know. You're very clear about the fact that you know. Everybody knows.
All right.
Let me push back. Hold on. You know. When you see LeBron, Michael Jordan, you see Beyonce, you see Whitney Houston, you see how did those black
guys. So did you guys see what I was telling you guys? How can one, be, mind you, he is the representative of the blacks. You see the way he's talking? Completely clueless. And he said, we giving Africans pass. What pass? What pass? What pass can they give Africans? Pass for what? So mind you, right? These guys, you see the way these other people are kind of laughing, this other brother and Master Gabs, because they're from the West here. This guy's from, used to live in Canada, and I guess he spent time in the US. So smart Africans, right? Others who have short temper just look at it like, man, this is why we don't talk to the blacks. They are not very smart. Because this is not how, if you left America, you are supposed to be saying you are the smart black. You got a spot, you got a podcast like this to go have conversation. This is what black intelligence is. This is what black intelligence is. All he is doing is selling just the entertainment. So you see, guys, you see how, like they would say, oh, the Africans, you're laughing. This is why people would laugh at you, because people are like, okay, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, this guy sounds crazy. Why would I worry about how Whitney Houston got to America? She was born in America. That's all I need to know. But here we go.
Every African asks himself that. How the did they get there? So what I'm saying is this. To this point, using the N-word, no. But then at the same time, when you say around whites, I'm not saying this is all Africans. We got some brothers and sisters in Africa that are freedom fighters. We didn't see them from SWAPO to everybody. We got brothers out there that's for this stuff, right? I'm talking about sellouts. When sellouts get around whites, they ain't got no problem with whites saying the N-word, and they will do it all the time, and they will easily identify themselves as being separate from us. And we see it all the time because we see it too. When Africans say Nigerian excellence, what are you trying to say? It's not those other niggas over there.
See, okay. Again, like I said, remember O'Shea used the word tribalism, and when I said they, it's like you want to say, oh, I'm doing tribalism today. But Africans, this is cringe. Africans are going to laugh at you because it's like you are showing yourself as a perpetual victim, talking about, Africans know, and you're trying to come here and say, I'm giving them pass. Pass to do what? Pass to do what? Because guys, think about it. Why would I? Because he talked about Africans in the diaspora. Like, I live in America. I've told you guys this. I've been living here for a long time. And do you guys think, I know many Africans, like, do you think we we want to engage in this type of conversation, guys. These are silly conversations. Like, okay, you're saying, oh yeah, these people know, blah, blah. Like, okay, what do we know? What do we know? It's like the social cue is missing. Africans are not responsible for the way you think. If you want to narrate your story, narrate it, but to try to force feed this down Africans' throat to say, oh, you know it, but he wants us to fill in the blanks. Fine, okay. Now Africans are out that are listening, they are Googling, how did Whitney Houston get to America? You know what they are seeing? Oh, she was born in America. Because we know she didn't fall from the sky. I know what he's alluding to. He wants us to fill in the blank and say, oh, her ancestors were slaves. But she wasn't no slaves. She died a multi-millionaire. That's the fact. You see? That is a fact. But let us see where O'Shea is taking this conversation. Because this is a pent-up thing. Pent-up, gripe against Africans. But let's hear him let it all out.
We did it for ourselves. Ugandan excellence, hashtag Haitian excellence, all the way in Miami. So y'all can make that distinction. We are not them.
So he wants Nigerians and Africans don't run around saying these self-affirming words. Oh, Nigerian excellence. I've never seen it. People here are individuals. People are successful in their own right. Like, you think, like the article they're talking about, the whites, they wrote it. The white liberals. Nobody knows the blacks more than the white liberals. Anytime the blacks want to relax, they're the ones that wrote that article to say Nigerians are the most successful immigrant group. And the blacks got jealous. But you guys are not immigrants. You are not immigrants. But he's saying, oh yeah, you're going to say Nigerian excellence, but they are Nigerians. Why wouldn't they say Nigerian excellence? That's what they will say. But you see, what they are doing is because more, here in America, historically, because he's from the hood, from the ghetto. If you're from the ghetto is called the project. This is already institutionalized way of thinking. Institutionalized way of thinking. So you are saying you want everybody to think in a group form. To think in a group, like as a group together. I can assure you there are blacks that are watching right now. I'm pretty sure even you that is watching this, you are cringing right now. You're like, what the hell is O'Shea talking about? But let's go. Look at how Gabs is looking at him. This other one is laughing. Deep down, because Gabs, he grew up in America here. He knows. I just know that feeling. He's looking at this nigga like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, really? Look at Jonita. Jonita is like, okay, here we go again. Here we go. This Negro he's talking this crazy mess thing again. And now look at this. Look at the way Jonita is looking at him. Awkward.
So a lot of Africans and Caribbeans feel like y'all not talking about us. Especially blacks know the NIGGA and the NIGGR. Y'all know the difference. Especially, I'm not talking about those who are unexposed in the village, but there are those
guys, when the Caribbeans, when their ancestors slaves too, didn't they carry the Caribbeans, their ancestors, to the Caribbean islands that they living at now? Does he know those people are Africans too? Their ancestors came from Africa. But now he's saying the Caribbean. So the Caribbeans, he's putting them in this. So the Caribbeans, their culture is much more closer to African because they are majority with each other. They kept their African culture. But if Osha is going by slave culture, the Jamaicans, Caribbeans, all of them, their ancestors were brought there as slaves. So this is not even making sense. Now, who is creating division? You see? Who is creating it? Not me. Have you noticed, if we should feel sorry for any people who are impacted by slavery, shouldn't it be Haiti? Guys, shouldn't it be Haiti? Look at the conditions of Haiti. If there's any group that who's still impacted by legacy of slavery, it should be them. But you don't even see them crying. This is crazy.
In the diaspora, those who live amongst us, and but you don't mind copying the African American style when it fits you, or getting affirmative action when it fits you, and then turn.
Oh, here we go with the affirmative action. So when they just cut the affirmative action, who was out there crying? Who was crying? It definitely wasn't no immigrants. First of all, they like to say, oh, you immigrants, you come here, to take affirmative action. Anyone, first of all, you're not gonna fly in from Nigeria, where I come from, and benefit from any of this free stuff in America. Let me school some of you ignoramuses. Okay? Let me school some of you today. I'm a great case study. When I came to America, I was a student. So, meaning, I was foreign in this country. So when you come as a student to America, you get charged extra, okay? So I remember the tuition, the first quarter, it was like $10,000, because I read it was $10,000 for the regular American citizens. The regular American citizens. Guess how much mine was? Guess how much mine was? They added 6,000 extra. You are not allowed to benefit from any of this quote-unquote affirmative action you guys talk about. They think blacks don't know how much they have it in America. They don't understand when you immigrate to America, like, you cannot apply for none of this. You know, how are you going to apply for it? Do you have a green card? Oh, you got to be a citizen. So you're not just coming in and becoming a citizen right away. That's not about to happen. You see? Do you have a social security number? Like, who the hell are you? Like, you're going to just show up and be like, hey, I am from Africa. I am, put me down. I am black. I want this free stuff. First of all, if you're not a citizen, you wouldn't even know these things exist. These are things for the blacks, and they are the ones that benefit from it. You guys remember 1 minute they say it is white women that are benefiting from it. Oh yeah, it is the white women. Now it is the Africans. So let us put this to rest. Okay? Let us put it to rest. Even if an African, somebody from an African country, even if we give them the full scoop and say, do you know you can apply for affirmative action? They will not be able to. They will not be able to, because they have to be citizens. They have to become a citizen. So by the time you become a citizen, you are here, you are making so much money than most of these poor blacks. Why would you want to be on the same program that the poor blacks are on? You've lifted yourself by your bootstrap. Look, when you practice poor behaviors, you become poor. I did not come to America to be poor. Okay? Most immigrants that come here did not come here to be poor. A farmer, always want to live rich, vibrant life. That's been my pursuit, you know, and it will always be. But I'm not gonna get that type of life saying I'm gonna go sign up for affirmative action. This is why the blacks were out there crying, oh, we can't believe, Justice Thomas just yanked affirmative action. We knew it. He is a coon. Weren't you guys the same people running around here calling that good Justice Thomas? You guys were calling him a coon because he did the right thing. You've been on affirmative action for 70 years. You've been on welfare for 70 years. How much longer do you need it for? You don't. So please, don't put this on Africans. Africans work for their money. They're not getting no free stuff here.
Around and have that conversation and play stupid like you don't know. But you do. Because when we see African booty scratcher, what does that indicate? It means we know what happened to you. And we
dude. African booty scratcher. So this conversation is more juvenile. Maybe this is middle school, what they call each other. In America, you guys, this is like, okay, I would never see a person, like when I was growing up, you see someone who's strange to your land, stranger. Like, I have way better manners than to try to make fun of them. That is not our thing. You know, like maybe some kids might tease other kids. Even when I was a kid, I don't call people names. You see what I'm saying? So he thinks to say, oh, African booty scratcher. If you call me African booty scratcher, what does that even mean? It means nothing to me. What, you mean Africans like to scratch their booty? What, if your booty itch, you don't scratch it? Like, what the hell is going on here? This doesn't even make sense. Oh, African booty scratcher. What, you don't scratch your booty when it itch? Like, what's going on here? See how they are laughing? Guys, because these guys are from the diaspora and they are Africans. Do you guys see how they are laughing? I'm telling you guys, America is very entertaining. Yeah. O'Shea is all the... Look, O'Shea should just say he is doing a comedy skit. For real. O'Shea should just... No, for real. O'Shea, if O'Shea said this is a comedy, then I can buy it. But he can be for real. Sure. You're going to call me African booty scratcher? Hey, have at it. I'm pretty sure when your booty itch, you scratch it too. I've seen white people scratching their booty. What, you're going to call them European booty scratcher? Come on, man.
We know it was wrong, but we're still using it in a terminology that is wrong, and that is our fault. But when we use that terminology, we know what happened to you. We know. We know that the white man came to Africa and took Uganda and took Kenya and took Tanzania. Why is Africa poor? We might not be able to explain who was the French or where it is or what's Francophone or Anglophone, but we do know. That's a fact. When we know that Africa is poor, we know why it's poor. And when we make those slurs against Africans, we know why we're making them. We're not being stupid. We know. Now, if it's just like maybe joking.
Oh, so you see, that's what I'm telling you guys. In America, especially the hood, they are cultured to do this. So, and of course, Mimi said, why is he yelling? Yeah, that's what the Blatts do. They would raise their voice, yell, because they think that actually would make them whatever they are saying now all of a sudden is correct. You see? I mean, here's the thing. It's like, can't you have a podcast? You're all the way over there. You're representing the blacks. You're representing them. I mean, you can't get this emotional yelling and you're not even saying anything. This is what we've been used to. Look, I'm just telling you guys facts. look, my brain, I cannot allow my brain cells, you know, if I wasn't breaking this down, I'm not gonna waste my time, you know, to have this type of conversation. You know, it is not only O'Shea, with anyone. With anyone. Like, now you understand why most Africans are busy working. They don't have time for this type of silly conversations. Do you guys notice? Do you see even Judah commenting here? You think if it's not online, Judah, he cares about this conversation? No, he's probably out there making money as we speak. That's what he's probably doing. Yeah. So this is quite exhausting. This is crazy.
If it's not being serious, but we know that something happened to you, and we're doing it really. Maybe it's joking, but we know that you're going to be offended by it, which is why we're doing it. The problem we have.
No, O'Shea, we are not getting offended, guys. That's what I'm saying. So to them, so words mean everything to the blacks here. So he's telling you straight, yeah, they're calling you African booty scratcher with the hope of offending you, hurting your feelings. Yeah, this is who these people are. But now they're telling you, we want to unite with you. Can you unite with somebody who, when you're a stranger on their land, they call it their land. From the horse's mouth, we call you this because we want to hurt you. Well, you can't hurt the person if what you're saying holds no meaning to them. It holds no meaning to me. It's like when people come here, they're like, man, Afridamus, your dusty country. Okay, thank you. Bejan said Afridamus got traumatized as a kid. Actually, no. I've always been a very happy kid. Like, nah, I never got traumatized. I wasn't oppressed. Like, I was just, regular kid, just, living my life, my best life. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, as you can tell, you see, I don't talk about white people. I don't talk about oppression, none of that. We were busy having a great time, especially those days when I used to go on my bushmeat hunt. Oh my goodness. God, I miss those days. Anyways, let's go.
With Africans in America or in the diaspora, when they get around whites, they sell out, try to defer themselves, or basically try to say, you know what, well, we don't know what happened. Like that's not us. And then they try to change and make the case. I'm not buying. You know what happened to our group, and we know what happened to your group. And whenever we make the case, we want to go ahead.
You see, he cannot speak without the grouping. So he said he knows what happened to our group, meaning Africans. Why don't he just explain it, what he think happened? Right? Why don't he explain? But he wants us to fill in the gap. It's not our group. Which group? You see how these people are looking at him like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you think we have white daddy over here? White zaddy was saying, hey, you guys are the ones in this group, and we are going to call you guys this. Nah. Yes, your history is completely different from, maybe it's different from most black groups. It's similar to the Caribbeans, and I mean, Haiti is in the Caribbean anyways. But he don't know what happened in Uganda. He has no idea. He is trying to force them into trauma bonding. I mean, I've met Pan-Africans. They used to do that. When I start questioning them, they would tell me about, oh man, we know Africa was colonized. I'm like, yeah, I know that too. What's that have to do with this conversation? Well, they used to be colonized. I said, have you noticed you use the word used to be? Used to be. And in fact, on Kinganda, I was interviewed there. The interview is up, is there, several times. I talked about colonization. I was interviewed about colonization. Some people were upset. I spoke about the pros and cons. And I did say some countries, the white people left too quick. They should have continued to colonize them a little bit longer so we can get more infrastructures and system out of them, at least, right? Because there were whites who were willing to help. Like, it wasn't all just disadvantageous, So I'm sure it brought us to where we are today. Systems have to change. It woke African people up, and now we are part of this system. But if you want to throw in colonization, thinking you are going to shame me, like, how are you going to shame me for something that I didn't do? I wasn't even born. The white man came, we learned quite a bit from the white man. And you also learned quite a bit from the white man. So the white man learned a lot from us also, from Africa. Don't think it's just one way. So my thing is, we don't validate. We don't take our validation, like of who we are, from other people. That's not what we do. That's not how Africans I meet were raised, most of them. Are there going to be some who are completely lost, who are not proud, who don't know who they are? Absolutely. I mean, this is crazy. People from oppression are usually hardcore. Hey, you can say what you want about the South Africans. They are super proud of who they are. Maybe it's there, but I've never seen videos of like these black South Africans behaving towards white people like the blacks here do. The blacks here openly. Some of them even play slave. They don't want the plantation to be over. Why do you think they call white people white supremacists? Why? Look at the conversation in South Africa. Those black South Africans, most of them, when you bring, white people, they'll be, oh, the Boer over here, but, they're doing their thing. They are a citizen over here. Some of them are nice. We have nothing to do with each other. A South African would never tell you the Boer is above him or her. They don't talk like that. Jamaicans don't do it. But the blacks, they are the ones that do this. But they run around, they accuse all other black groups. Now they are even accusing us, the black factory people, the people they came from. If your roots, you want to denigrate your roots, talking bad on us Africans, calling us booty scratchers, calling us all kinds of names. Do you think that's how you would get respect? And this unity you say, hey, don't fool yourself. When you go to Africa, I understand. You see some of these Africans, they take it slow, they're walking slow, they talk slow. It doesn't mean mentally they are slow. Okay? They just like to chill. But you can't judge all other Africans you meet that way or assume, is the same. Just as in America, in America, the blacks are much similar than different, but it's just like in America. Some people, you just don't, mix with them, and that's okay. But for some of these people, it's not just okay that they don't mix with you. They have to hate you because you did not see the world the way they are seeing it. Wow.
Had to say Africans are not doing well. We don't say that when y'all do very well in America, right? What about the number one group in America is Nigerian Americans? Oh, all of a sudden y'all don't know, so y'all can be the best in America, but you don't know what happened to us. You do know. You know. That's the N-word right there. You know.
You see the jealousy for towards Africans? Guys, this is weird. So ever since they wrote that article, I'm telling you guys, the white liberals, they wrote it for a reason, because they know the blacks have low self-esteem. They because they like to talk smack to Africans. So when they wrote that article, most of the time the blacks, even O'Shea in his talking points, when they say African, they're mostly talking about Nigerian. That's who they are talking about. For real. Let's see. Shazad, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. He said, you are not alone, Afridamus. Haitians will call HBO, Haitian body odor. You see, guys. In fact, I have a video of some Black American woman talking about Gambian men stink. Girl, maybe the person you dated, you went and dated a nasty guy. Now all of a sudden that's every Gambian. How many Gambians have you dated? You see the blacks with them, most of them, they are not reasonable. They are not reasonable. She cannot just say, oh man, I dated this Gambian guy. He did not like to shower whatsoever. No. She just said Gambians stink. Yeah, they stink because she dated every Gambian. Do you see? But, they say they're outspoken, but when they dish it out, but when you give it back to them, oh, I can't believe you did this to me. But you were just saying this. You see what I'm saying? And for example, if you go on date like some overweight black, and she happened to smell like fried chicken, would it be fair for you to go around telling people, oh, the Black American women smell like fried chicken? No. You chose Big Shirley. Okay? You think she just got big just like that? No. She's over in her kitchen frying chicken and all that. You see what I'm saying? So please, blacks, please be reasonable. Like they say, all white people are racist. If all white people are racist, do you think the blacks would be free? I highly doubt it. But here we go.
And y'all people know what we've been through. Just as much as we know what you've been through. We might not put a dot on it, but we got a picture. We know y'all been oppressed by the same people. So we got to start holding our people accountable. Because if you know Michael Jordan, if you know LeBron James, if you know Mike Tyson, why is the African and American speaking English? Africans are not that silly. They know.
Oh, sorry, guys, no audio, my bad. So he is saying, if you know LeBron, Michael Jordan, that means you know them, guys. Both LeBron James and Michael Jordan he's a billionaire. LeBron James is a billionaire. Let's see how many blacks are billionaires. So now you see what they are doing, what O'Shea is doing over here. So he is using LeBron James, who is the guy is like almost 8 feet tall. Okay, he's like one of the best basketball players. Him and Jordan, their styles are different, but I would say like literally like hands down so far, like this guy can play. Okay, this guy can play ball. So Michael Jordan, we all know him, the famous hand with the tongue. He's the best. No one, I mean, this man can play ball and he is wealthy. Okay? So You think I'm going to be sitting under the mango tree in Gambia, me and my buddies, and then we're like, God, you know who I feel sorry for? You say, who? LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I cannot believe their ancestors, their great ancestors were taken from here. And now look at them. They made billions of dollars just from bouncing a ball. Just from bouncing a ball. Look at us. We are sitting in this mango forest. The mango has plenty of fruits on it. We cannot even make money from it. But let us just feel sorry for Michael Jordan and LeBron James, because they are so oppressed. These guys are making billions just bouncing a ball. You think that is what is happening, guys? I highly doubt it. Okay, let me give you let me paint the other scenario for you. You see what he's doing? So he's doing a disservice for his own group. Because if these are the people, we Africans, not me, I live here, but people international, this is who they see on TV. So if you're giving them as the example, that would mean if people look at those people as the example of what African American is, then don't be upset when you go to countries, people think you're rich and asking you for money. Do you see what the blacks do here? They worship celebrities. They see a celebrity, they want to use that celebrity as the standard for them, the blacks. But you are not Michael Jordan. You are not LeBron James. Okay? And I'm pretty sure those people are not oppressed. But here we go.
That something happened to these people as to why I'm looking up to Beyonce in America and not in Uganda. I'm looking up to Whitney Houston in New York City or New Jersey, but not here. There's a reason why she's there. There's a reason why Bob Marley, I'm looking up to him and not looking up to him here. I know how they got there.
Does O'Shea, Bob Marley's father is white. So technically, if you are what your father is, his father is white. His father carried his seed from England, where he's from, or Scotland, one of those places. He went to Jamaica. And so Bob Marley, technically, his seed, he's from over there. Let's be real. And then we go to, we talk about Beyonce. Beyonce. Oh, her husband's name is Jay-Z. Beyonce. Have you taken a good look at Beyonce? Beyonce and from North Africa. She is not from Africa. Beyonce has French in her, mostly French. She has, I'm talking white French, European. She has Spanish. Okay? She has white European. Beyonce is probably tops. Beyonce probably still have maybe 20% African. But now, you notice how these blacks, they like to play these silly little games. Oh, I'm African. But if we do the DNA, you are mixed. You are mixed with a lot of different things. But you only want to tell us you are acknowledging the African side. What about the Irish side? What about your Irish side? I can't trust someone who don't want to claim their other bloodline. That makes me suspicious. Okay? I can't trust that. I'm just laying it out. Beyonce is not African. LeBron James. Let's take LeBron for example. LeBron also, you could clearly see he's got mixture over time. He looks more like a tall Samoan than an African. Let's just be real. I wouldn't be surprised if his dad is even, like one of those islander, with those, Polynesian people. But let's continue.
Africans are not silly. They're not. They know. So we got to stop lying to them, acting like they know. They know. Blacks know. We all know what happened to each other. We know it. So why are we lying?
I think I'll contribute to that this way. Having grown up between, of course, the low town. I grew up in a white town, right? So, and later on you learn the history that is definitely a redneck town, right? So you know that half of the things that happen when you live around an area where you're marginalized, even when you're present there and claiming to be, you have rights and all of this stuff, but you're still locked out, you tend to, as an immigrant, I'm thinking this as an immigrant perspective. From an immigrant perspective, you are in a cultural clash whereby so many things are happening, and you're learning things at a pace where you're unaware of all of this information, that now you are taking in this intense, like, I'll give you an example. The first time I got a gun to my head, I was 13 and was by private police. And it was not far from home. I live close to a train bridge that goes into New York, right? And so I was right passing there. And when they apprehended me, they said I fit the description. I had never heard any of this thing, right? And in my mind as an immigrant,
like as if that's so I like how the take that this other man is giving him. He removed color out of it completely. It's like, dude, you are going on this tangent. You don't even, this is narcissistic behavior. So you are just, you're so self-centered, not taking into consideration, what other people, what their understanding is of these things. The guy is right. Immigrant, you're not even part of the conversation. So who should be crying? Who should feel like a victim? An immigrant, right? So if there's like a disadvantage, if you say your skin color is disadvantage, imagine if an immigrant who is black, they have double disadvantage. Not only are they black, they're immigrant on top of that. So at least you are in the conversation, so you stand a better chance. But this story that he's saying, I remember one time I got pulled over many years ago. I was in the car with it was 4 of us in the car. This was like winter. We were going, somewhere, party. So I was the one driving. I didn't even have a driver's license at the time. So this guy, he was like, yo, bro, you drive. But he didn't tell me what the deal was. I mean, like, you're young. You're like, yeah, you're happy to be the one driving. You drive. You didn't have a license. Some do that, right? So he just got out of jail that day. Like, not like prison. This guy, he's African, but he was a jailbird. So he's like, hey man, I just got out of jail. You drive. So I'm driving. We saw like a bunch of cops, but no big deal. I'm driving, and then one of the guys was like, oh, I don't have my ID. I forgot. We were like couple blocks. He's like, can you turn back around? So I turned back around. I drove. So the guy goes to get his ID, got the ID. I turned right back and driving, and we got pulled over. The cop came to me, and I was like, oh, why'd you pull me over? He's like, oh, because you fit the description. So I was like, fit the description. I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't even know what that meant. So he's on the radio. He asked me, he said, where are you coming from? And I told him the name of the apartment complex I came from. And I heard someone on the radio say, yes, he's telling the truth. And they just let us go. But the guy can tell, like, okay, these guys are not black, they're immigrants. So we told the truth, they let me go. You see? So this is normal. It's very normal. But in the beginning, you will not know. This is why I say avoid these ghetto black areas. Because, it's not only because the black people there. It is like there's police activities going on around there. You think you're just taking a normal, regular stroll. No, the people that look like you, when the place gets dark, they start wiling out. So you better watch out where you hang out at.
kid,
Yeah.
how do I identify with that? Right now, I tell you they treat me like a nigga. Then you know what I'm saying? But I just came fresh from Africa.
Okay.
I don't know what nigga is really. I don't know what this police are doing. That's called racial profiling. I don't even have that in my mind.
Okay.
You understand me? I'm actually a true case of growing up in a space where you are not accepted, but you learn to coexist. And start building your own way.
Say it again, brother. I didn't hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
Say it again one more time.
You know, a
Say it
place,
again.
where you exist, but you're not allowed. You're not accepted in any circle. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know. So when you talk about African American and you talk about immigrants, right? Like with the case of being immigrants, you're like at the lowest of any conversation in those communities.
Oh, absolutely.
You understand me? So having grown up, as that's my introduction to the West as a child of an immigrant, I started to, matter of fact, maybe the advocacy even came from that. Because even my brothers going sideways came from that. Because like police is already taking us anyways. Anything happens in the hood, they're knocking on my mom's door. So I might as well impersonate what they're claiming we are.
Right.
So the whole complex of thinking that people know, I think for me, it's not even an excuse. We're in a machine that's working on us daily, bro. You know what I mean? But we're lucky to know that we are informed now. So we make better decisions on how we treat each other.
Right.
But from jump, it's about like when someone...
Guys, did you see how this guy, with O'Shea and that rant, how this guy brought the conversation, he brought maturity and logic to the conversation? Because, like I said, most blacks that are in this quote-unquote Pan-African space, I think most of them are crybabies. Because look at it. The Africans they talk about, we could give personal examples, but we don't call it racism. But they can't even give personal example. They would tell you, they would name celebrities, or they would name George Floyd. Did O'Shea give even one single example of his encounter with police? I never thought those cops that pulled me over is because we're black. But hey, it's 4 of us in the car in the winter. We got on hoodies. Yes, we did look like blacks. We're ready to, do what blacks do. But we saw that dressing style on BET. Yeah. And we dressed like those blacks on BET. Look at what that got us. That's why I started dressing white. Here we go.
Calls you a can you understand whether they know or don't know? Do you have time for that?
I think, again, to my point, if you say that to me, I don't really care, because when I look at you, I see myself. If I see Agaba, I see myself. If I see Dr. Ron, I see I don't care about that.
Yeah.
My problem is, if you get around a bunch of white people,
I want to talk about them too. They're assimilating more folks that get around white people and act like you're like
that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So we're talking about those when somebody else calls me that, you ain't talking about me. And that's the problem that African Americans have.
Dude, hey, did you see this guy's face? Like, you know why Agaber have that face? Oh, Buana said, yeah, Buana, I dress Gambian, but when I'm out here too, sometimes, I gotta wear the white people clothes and stuff, and fit in. But yeah, do you see Agaber's face? Yeah, that's the face an African will make. Like Agaber is going like, is this guy effing serious right now? Like, is this a joke? That's what I'm thinking too. Like, I live here in the United States. I've been living here, guys, for years. You gotta be kidding me. You think some African, I'm not saying it's never happened, but no, African would be sitting with white people, saying to them it's okay to use the N-word. That's not even real. That's not true. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So this is why the media is very important for us too. Because this type of narratives, you got a guy, he's saying he's representing the blacks in Africa. He is spreading false narratives about Africans that live here. This guy is telling the other blacks, they're literally passing these lies to each other, saying African from Africa. Because some they would like to throw in the Caribbeans. So they are the only people who are upstanding. And first of all, it's not even about that. Like, if I'm around any person, white people, or whoever, it's just a matter of respect. Why would, generally we're seeing it. White people seem to be more polite and more respectful. And in fact, there is a consequence for a white person saying that word. Majority of white people are not silly like the blacks, running around thinking about this word. White people are not thinking about blacks. There might be some, but I don't know these people. Maybe in other parts of America, I don't know. But I personally, I'm talking about a sane white person. Yeah, I've seen a crazy white person, using the N-word, but he is completely gone, like a crazy person. I'm not just saying crazy, I'm talking real crazy, in a mental institution type crazy. But like a regular white person, why would they want to say the N-word, especially around some, African person that they got to work with? Why would the white person wants to get fired? Is that what this is? Are you serious right now? Come on, man.
Yeah, because yes, they are talking about your black too. They talking about you too. When you get pulled over, they don't say, "Oh, well, that's a Ugandan kid. Let him go." Yeah, hey, that's a black kid. Yeah. Pull the guns on him too. And that's the fight we have in the diaspora. Why you think you so like? The thing about the diaspora is a lot of us I'm very tribalistic in Africa.
He said he's tribalistic. How many Africans throughout this time, O'Shea, because O'Shea talks about Africans quite a bit. How many Africans does O'Shea even know or have ever been around? Have you ever thought about that? I have been around blacks. In fact, my ex-wife was black. I'm talking black, FBA. I've been to, cookouts where I got my honorary black card, hang out with blacks. And I've hung out with the other typical blacks in their favorite, habitat called state prison, as an officer, where some of these people walk around sagging their pants. I'm like, pull your pants up. Yes, sir. Yeah. So I have done my field studies. I'm not over here guessing. I'm not over here, just fabricating stuff. Right? Like O'Shea has been talking about Africans for a long time. How come, even his trip to Africa, there's not a single African that he knew from the United States, this African inspired me or showed me where to go. He is not around Africans. He's not around Africans. Because he likes to talk about, he said they go to church with Nigerian. That's how especially a Nigerian, you want to tell me, you want me to believe a Nigerian, especially a Nigerian, is going to be so cool with a white person, and the white person use the N-word for even the actual, a black person, and the Nigerian is like, no, you're not talking about me, you're talking about them. I'm not gonna buy that story. That's not real.
Me and Joe have had some really interesting conversations just offline that can never be recorded because I will be called a hateful person, right? But I am very African American centered. Believe that. Like the way I talk to people, even here, is just like we would do back home.
So if he's, African American centered, I don't know. So some of you blacks that come, right? Before you start jumping, Afridamos don't generalize. You heard it from the man's own mouth. He said he's African American centered. That means he is representing himself as an African American black. So this is how he is saying, you blacks you have the right to behave or be loud or be ignorant about things. But guess what? You would be, seen and treated that way. You can't be upset when you're treated according to the way you act. This is socially awkward. For you to be this animated and you're talking tribalism to a group of people, because deep down they believe there's tribalism, in Africa. They want to be a part of that tribalism. Sir, Africans are not comparing themselves to Black Americans. That's not the case. You know, most of the time you come in, these people are just looking at you with fascination, with love. But then you start opening your mouth. You start opening your mouth, you know. That's why they said sometimes, it's best you stay quiet, because the moment you open your mouth, you might alert the people about how much of a fool you are. So he said, this is how he is, this is how we talk. Many blacks do say this, right? But people have the right not to go along with this or accept you into their midst talking like this.
Us as a group, we're known for being very fucking straightforward, and we're gonna tell it like it is, right? But now at the same time, I also know when I see Jonita, I see my mother. When I see her, I don't treat her no different than when I would treat my own community. When I see a guy, whatever I would do for him, I would do.
That's a cap. So you mean Jonita is like older looking like your mama? Damn, I can't believe. So you saying Jonita look like your mama, like an old lady? Like what's going on over here, man? Hold on, I see a glass over here. Okay, that explains it. What was O'Shea drinking? Okay, all right. I was like, okay, something ain't right. Yeah, it must be this here that he's drinking. I'm not sure what's in that glass, but the glass is talking. This cannot possibly be his thoughts. No, it's the glass.
Do for somebody in my own community. And that's the difference. But a lot of times, us in the diaspora, when we see each other, we think our group is so superior than the other group. And I'm from Ankole, I'm from Achole, so I'm Igbo, I'm Hausa. Yeah. And then the white people looking at you, your wife don't matter either. So some of us, whoever in the world, we have woke Africans too. Don't get me wrong.
Guys, I don't want to stop this, but I had to stop. And look, this is why I like to break these videos down for you guys to see. Some people think I'm trolling, but no, this is education moment, because this is like putting the mirror up for most of the blacks. This is how they literally think. They are in their thoughts. So he is telling you what they think. This is what they are thinking. Amazing. This is what he is thinking.
We got woke people in the Caribbean. All of our woke.
So he's talking about tribes. Again, when they say tribal names, guess which tribes they say? Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. Is there jealousy for the Nigerians? Is this jealousy against Nigerians? This is very immature. 86 Lio, you are very correct. This is super duper immature. Okay, think about it. For instance, right? I'm from Gambia. I'm from a tribe. There's other people from other tribe. Like, do you guys know how what O'Shea is saying? You notice, the three Africans here. You can tell by their body language they're getting uncomfortable. If he were African, what he said, they would have checked him super hard. Because here's a guy sitting in front of three of you. It's like me sitting in front of other three Africans, my countrymen. I'm saying, I'm super tribalist, I'm tribal centered, like just trying to always say promoting, saying my tribe is better. People do not talk like this. Do you understand? So he's been living in this country for quite some time, and he still did not pick up the social cues. It's very uncomfortable. Look at these people here. They are very uncomfortable. I can tell by their body language. Like, if you're talking to an African, they start talking all that tribal thing. You know right away this person is not very sound. Like, you're like, okay, this is not a sound individual. But here we go.
We got shout outs in the African American community. All of our woke people around the world are telling our people, because we didn't have great people in our community, from Stokely Carmichael that was Caribbean, from Marcus Garvey that was Caribbean, and they were saying the same thing. They look at us as the same. So when they say the N-word, they're talking about y'all also. I'm not talking about any other group but that sellout group. And those people feel like, well, because of our accomplishments in America and because we are here.
And funny you say that, because that's I feel like that's sometimes also in Uganda when it comes to the class education system, because you are well trained to be like a British, now you're better than everybody else.
Hello.
Like when you come from homes where people are like, oh, hella bent on education, and that if you weren't educated, you are no class, you are nobody, there was no opportunity for you. That resembles the semantic of what you're sharing. Because even here, like when you never got a degree. You know what I'm saying? Someone quickly, you know what I'm saying, cuss you on the other side of like, we can't talk to him. You know what I mean? Or even just being like, your kids. Like I ran a crazy community space that had a lot of different kinds of people. But then the kids who came from good homes only came because we love different. And the love that was there is not what they were getting at home.
Okay.
But then I quickly learned that if they weren't strong-willed enough to stay among those kids that were underprivileged, they would have never have discovered a lot of things, yet their family was dividing them by saying you cannot be with those kind of kids or those kind of crap.
Guys, do you think O'Shea is just saying things just for the hell of it? Oh, this is just Negro Babble. Because, in this instant, because you look at it, this guy, right, and Gabs, they are talking, they are having like normal conversation. Even when he's talking about things out of context, like that are socially awkward, they're not arguing with him, because, that's a bad position to be in. And most blacks, they keep putting themselves in this position. That's why they will never ever know the truth. Even around whites, I notice the same thing. Like the blacks, they can say a bunch of stupid stuff, incorrect things. White people will not correct them because they are afraid. Like I've seen it. I worked for the state before. They are afraid of being accused of being racist. Even if these people, they are wrong, they're just saying stuff, they won't say anything. Because they know the moment they try to correct this person will bend out of shape. And I've seen it with other ethnic groups. I've even seen it with Africans, like you're seeing here. Because people would just say, oh no, that's just the blacks. Literally, they would say that's just the blacks. Like they expect you to say something unintelligent. And you're doing this in the media. In this podcast, I was listening to the video. O'Shea said Thomas Sankara. You guys have heard of Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara that everyone talks about, the revolutionaries. He said Thomas Sankara was a griot. I guess he heard the word griot. He heard the word griot. He don't know what it means. He ran with it. Griot is a storyteller, entertainer, poet. Thomas Sankara was a soldier. I'm talking literally, a military man and a head of state. How did that man become a griot, an entertainer? This is the reason why I like, having these conversations, because we're gonna just sit and let, someone like O'Shea just give false information, confusing, our African people or the blacks. Griot, Thomas Sankara was not griot. He's not an entertainer. He's not a storyteller. He was a leader, a revolutionary leader. Nat Turner said, Afridamus, I pray you get deported back to Gambia so that you can be happy in your shithole country. Well, keep on praying, Nat Turner. Unfortunately, Nat Turner, unfortunately for you, I have an American passport, meaning I'm an American citizen, sir. I've been an American citizen for a long time. So you can take it to the bank, Nat Turner. When you get to the bank, pay them so they can join you in your prayer. While you are at it, pray that you get, you lose some of that, excess weight on yourself. Thank you.
There you go.
right? So what you're saying in the West, when you have those black people who are constantly wanting to drink the Kool-Aid of, the colonialism conditioning, appease the white folk. I'm one of those people that I've been on a SkyTrain in Vancouver, and I'm talking like, how you like to say, oh, yo, white people, you know what I mean? And my black friends like, you don't say white. And I'm like, why not? They're always saying black people.
Right.
So you feel like it's beat inside of you to be fearful of who you are.
Right.
You understand me?
Yes.
So that when it comes to trading with yourself, you are even, like, it was my own fellow black person shutting me down for being confident, to be able to be on a train communicating about my situation with white folk.
Right.
And he's trying to censor me so I can lessen my tone.
Right.
And, you know what I mean?
And, this brother here, he's not going to say it, but when he said fellow black, guess who that black will be? Exactly. You guessed right. Because 9 out of 10 times the black people you will run into in America will be black adults, because it's like about 50 million of them here in America. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's people that you would say FBA. So why is this African versus them thing? It's not. And when you talk about the group number one, in my world, that's not how it works. Everybody, each and every one of us, you are successful in your own rights, because you have your own goals. The reason why you are here. I didn't come with a group. I don't identify with a group, but I identify as me. I live in this system, but not of it. Meaning you can live in the world, but not of it. You would always be you. But if you are in a system where you don't know how to separate who you are from what that system is, then you will be lost.
And being a submissive
Yes.
dude. So folk like that have been well subdued as trained dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To follow the path of the master, and they will follow that. It's just like any level of human conditioning.
Right.
When it oversurpasses, then all of a sudden you're thinking you're that person. It's like that clip on Dave Chappelle of the black, dude who thought was white. You know what I'm saying?
That was all right. What was his name? Plain Big B. And, I mean, that's the thing that we're talking about. And these conversations need to be had, because we got to understand one thing. And the reason we have this podcast here ain't the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's our community that supports us.
Yeah.
And we didn't get it by selling out.
Facts.
We got it because our people support what we do.
Yeah.
They didn't sell out to who? I mean, who can O'Shea sell this conversation to other than the blacks? And the Africans that come and watch it, and he should thank me. I'm coming here to break it down. So I don't know, because he is doing it for the hood. Because you see, dumping down on Africans is entertainment for some of these people. Because in their head, they have to find someone to dump on. And they want you, me, the African, they want us to assume that role. It's not a matter of saying, hey, man, we want to be respectful. Let's connect, deal with each other as, mature human being, But all this talk here is delusional. Like even when he said the article, Nigerians are number one group, immigrant group, African group here. I don't believe that. That's not true. How do you measure that? How do you even measure it? What, do they have more businesses than other African groups? Ethiopians have entire shopping malls in several cities across America. Even here where I live, Somalians have entire shopping malls. So it's about business making money. Or unless they're going by, which Nigerians are employed in high office, or maybe in Houston they hold office. Maybe that's what they are going by. But if they are going saying success, you think other Africans are running here talking, oh man, this group is the most successful. No. You come here, you do exactly what you need to do. The Ethiopians are not out there comparing themselves to anybody. The Somalis are not doing the same. Neither are we, the Gambians, the Kenyans. Everybody's just doing their own thing. People are just doing their own thing. Unfortunately, the blacks, I think, unfortunately, some of them are still way behind. They need to understand we are in 2023. Nobody's thinking about you. All this is empty talk. People are out here getting it. That's what people are here for. Nobody is here to match. People don't care about that. And you like talking about like the civil rights, affirmative action, or the Black Panthers. None of that stuff applies to an African immigrant. Because even if the Black Panthers were there, you think I want to go be in a neighborhood where I'm going to be taking my kid to some breakfast program thing? That means you're poor. Like, why would you want to, live in neighborhoods like that, coming from another country, live in neighborhoods like that and introduce your kid to it? I'm not saying what they were doing wasn't good. It was good for those people in those neighborhoods. That's good. But it's not for, foreign blacks.
And if we don't have that mind, you don't have nothing. And the thing is, as long as you got this in, and when they say the N-word, even if somebody had a racist term towards, let's say, Ugandans in America, if that was a big group, and if a white person say that, and I would be like, it's like I have the equivalency of saying, oh, well, it's like I'm the Negro that talks very well. It's articulate. I think that was something that was very important. Like, oh, okay, well, you're like the other blacks. Oh, well, thank you so much. What do you mean? Hold on. Am I supposed to not be smart? And then what happens is you start having a hatred of your own group because you're not talking about me. Mm-hmm. So it stops you. It boggles you from having an interrelationship with people in the diaspora to achieve something. But that is not.
Guys, this is a cap, man. O'Shea, they've been making these excuses from day one. Oh, this is why we don't mess with Africans. But Africans are not asking you to come and mess with them. Somehow you notice they're not seeing anything positive. If you say something positive, like the Nigerians doing it, oh, you gotta kind of give them backhanded compliment, hate on them. When it comes to, oh, the N-word, oh, the Africans are over there, letting the white people say it. I guess we might as well just, collaborate with the white people at this point. Because the way he makes it sound, I wouldn't be surprised if they say some of the KKKs, some of the people who used to wear the robe, I wouldn't be surprised if they someday say they're Africans. I mean, how is this possible? How is it possible one group, their interaction or any group they talk about, they are always the victim and the other group is the perpetrator? Imagine that. Like, O'Shea have managed. He's trying to manage to twist this. Blacks good, Africans bad. But you guys are your own people. If Africans are bad or like white people, why don't you stay away from both of these groups? Since you guys are excellent, black excellence, you guys go do your own thing. Because it's not Africans that are saying, oh man, let's be one. No. If you can't get along or you don't think these people have anything for you, just leave them alone. Chukwu said, Nigerians do have higher incomes. This is true. STEM degrees and lower single motherhood rate and incarceration rates than blacks. Just saying. Yes, everyone has lower incarceration rate than the blacks, except the whites and the Hispanics. But because, like I said, I've worked in the prison before, and you hardly see Africans there. I have seen a couple, although in the prison, the African group that get locked up the most, they tend to be Somalis. I mean, in the state where I work, they tend to be Somalis. And even with that Somali number, is very, very small, very minimal compared to the population in there. But I'm just saying, in the immigrant group from Africa, I tend to see, and I've seen one Kenyan in my many years. I've seen Jamaican, seen somebody from Turks and Caicos, but very, very very minimal. I've even seen 2 Gambians. But my point is, when you see people from other countries, Africa, they are usually, they're usually way in the minority. It would be like 1 or 2 here and there, But in all the African groups, the Somalis beat all of them in the system there. But let's continue.
How the Arabs believe. But let me tell you something, because we talk about one Arab, we talk about all of them. And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about. I just came back from Dubai. In Dubai, every person in the Arab world is there doing very well. They're in the military. There's no African country now where a Ghanaian can be in the Nigerian military for fear of whatever.
So he said it, Ghanaian. So O'Shea, are you telling me in Dubai, UAE, Iraqis and these other people are in their military, in their army? Now, why would a Ghanaian want to leave Ghana and go be in the military in Nigeria? Why can't he be in the military where he's from? But you know why O'Shea is saying this? He doesn't even understand. He's applying American standard. Like in America, America is not the same as other places. Yes, you can come in America. They have people from all over the world, They've got all kinds of people in the American army, and you can join the army. It don't matter. Maybe that's why America is such a powerful and a strong country. So America is able to pull that off. To pull it off. They have the money, they have the tool, they have the infrastructure. America here can handle that. But why would Nigeria or Ghana, how are they going to be able to bring in other people from other countries to come and serve their country? But those people don't have their own countries? What's going on?
Even if you're not in that person's tribe, here in Uganda, you might not even be allowed to move up. But the way the Arab world, Pan-Arabism, if that's the correct term, I don't know, I might be messing up. If you slur against somebody from Oman, Saudi come from you, Qatar come for you.
Guys, do you hear this? So now O'Shea is a Pan-Arab. He's now an Arab expert. Oh yeah, we have seen how united these Arabs were. That's why they all came together and went to go help Saddam Hussein, right? You remember when the white people in America, the white people came together, England, even Germany, they all came together. They said coalition, and they brought the blacks also. When they went to go bomb Iraq, I remember seeing when they said the Arab League, which is like the Union of the Arabs. We've seen it. They came together. They say, yeah, we agree with America. Saddam, you gotta go or else. I guess, isn't Saddam Arab? Saddam Hussein was an Arab. In fact, they helped those Arabs, Saudi Arabia. Did you know that America's planes, that would, some of them they were flying over to go to Baghdad and dropping bombs on those Iraqis, the bombs killing, men, women, children, dogs, cats, you name it. That's right. So I don't think O'Shea knows what the hell he's talking about. That's why I say skin color means nothing, sir. He's using skin color. That doesn't work.
Emirates come for you, and it's us against them. That's why Tariq Nasheed, and I'm not trying to make him but he has a saying, us first, then them. But when you say, oh, it's them, not us, it's a problem. Because when you go out and side against those white people who will never give you what you can give yourself, and that's because the black mind is messed up. White people will never give you what the blacks can give yourself. That's why we go to Dubai and Abu Dhabi now. Because Arabs figured out, you know, in Dubai, you've been there.
Guys, O'Shea is all over the place. O'Shea is all over the place. He's all over the place. Guys, you have to learn not to be socially awkward. And the way you do that is when you go to any society, you have to be willing to be open-minded, you know, leave your baggage behind. So he agrees with Tariq Nasheed, right? What is Tariq's main job these days? What is Tariq's main job these days? I mean, they say, you know, we all the same skin color. It's about skin color. Why don't you go listen to Tariq's broadcast? Let's go hear what Tariq says about Caribbeans and Africans. I thought it was about skin color. Look, guys, the jig is up. We Africans, we are on top of it. You know, all that, you know, silly little immature games. We're not playing that game. We got the microphone too. We on YouTube. We will keep breaking these videos down. But let's continue.
Now, obviously, because Dubai is something that's very different in the world. It is the one place that is a complete blend of European and American capitalism in one city that I've seen. You can get Pete's Coffee and go to Carrefour in the same city. You cannot do that nowhere else in the world. But the Emiratis don't change their culture, despite the capitalism, because they love themselves first more than everybody else. And the Africans are going there every day from to someplace else. Because when you talk about, in theory, when you talk about Kenya, you shouldn't say, well, they ain't talking about me. They are talking about us.
Now, if they are talking about a Ugandan, see, that's what I'm saying. A human being is a human being. You know, we are not like animals to just go, you know, because, you know, animals don't have identifiers, just how they look. They are with the group that they look like. So you mean to tell me if they like we at the airport and they're like announcing this, and we want all the Kenyans to be in this line over here, the Kenyans over here. So if you're from Nigeria or Uganda, if they say all Kenyans on this side, are you going to go there? Are they talking about you? Hey, if you want to travel the world, you cannot be lazy. You have to study and know, like, people are from different parts of the world, and this is how people identify it. Once you leave America, drop that American narcissism thinking just because you are forcing people to all identify as African. That's not reality. If they're talking about a Kenyan, they're talking about a Kenyan. A Kenyan is not a Ugandan.
When you're talking about Nigeria, you are talking about me. You're talking about Agaba. You're talking about Joan. You're talking about Dr. Ron. You're talking about all of us. And until we have that mindset, we're going to always be worshiping them. And what has that gotten us? It needs to—
Wow. So now Nigerian and Blacks are the same. Then, guys, we've been here 3 hours. So throughout this video, didn't O'Shea go out, tell us how he's tribalist, you know, he's, you know, for the Blatts, and what happened to that? Now he's Nigerian. Okay.
To be a reason as to why, if we're going to be like that, and ask for other folks, what is the resolution that we're going to get? To tell me. And there's no evidence nowhere in the academic record, all the way from all of our people, George Washington Carver, Carter G. Woodson, that we can identify that Blacks have gotten somewhere by kissing white folks' ass and hating on other Blacks for that particular situation. It ain't really on record. And that's why we need to have that conversation. If it's the N-word between Blacks, I don't have no problem with it. I really don't. But when you let whites get a hold of it and you say nothing and try to separate yourself, and then you be the first person crying about racism when it comes back to you, that's all that happened. You know how many Black women and Black men get disrespected in interracial relationships? Here in Uganda. You see those Ugandan young men, athletic. Look.
So he Again, we went from American skin color, so he has this on his mind to speak about it. If a Ugandan and a white person are married there in Uganda, the blacks get disrespected. Hey, that's on them. That's their personal problem. That has nothing to do with all people that have that skin color. Just as that white person doesn't represent all white people.
Look at the white woman. What does she look like? How many beautiful white women have you seen? Look at what I'm talking to you. How many have you guys seen that was fine? You see a buff Ugandan guy or a good-looking Ugandan woman with a white person? That 90 years old. Have you never seen no parity between blacks and whites as far as looks in this country? Have you? It don't exist. Ain't parity in that.
So he's talking about the Ugandan bumsters, you know, marrying old ladies, right? But what does that have to do with the N-word? This is what I keep talking about. These blacks, they don't mind their own business. They go to these African countries, you know, they see how those people live in their life. What does that have to do with the N-word? If some Ugandan dude is on the beach over there, you know, holidaying with some, you know, old white lady, as you want to call them, you know, guys, I've done many videos over here. Isn't that their business? Those same guys can also say, oh, we see you guys in America. Some of you are with lizard-sized women. We are very disgusted by that. They could say the same thing. Please leave these Ugandans alone. Let these Ugandans have good time with their European women.
It's not. It's always a young, strong dude, and the woman look like, there you go. Because whites ain't gotta give you no parity when you hate yourself. What do they owe you when you ain't got no parity? They ain't owe you no parity for what? That's what I'm getting at. They don't owe you no equality or no parity because you said when they talk about the
guys, there comes the word equality. Why would I be a Ugandan living in Uganda asking for equality from anyone, from white people? Do you guys see how delusional O'Shea is being? This is what happens when you don't know. Because see, humans, right? Whether you like it or not, humans, we're playing characters. Most of people, you have to know which face, personality to put forth. To put forth when you are at work. You would see, you know, even especially black women are good at that. I have spoke about that here, where they would be all ghetto, acting all crazy. But at their job, they are so good at it. They get all white and stuff. You call on the phone. Hello, can I help you? You're like, what? You're like, Shaniqua, that's you? No way. That's you, Shante? Uh-huh. And she's speaking proper English. But that same Shante, right? See her with her friends. She talking crazy, acting crazy. But she's able to switch. It's called code switch. You know, at her job, to answer the phone that way and talk like that, that's the appropriate way to talk there, because that's what is understood in that environment. You see, when she with her girls, you know, Bomquisher, you know, you name them, Shenene, Lexus, then she can talk any kind of way, right? But how you go to other countries, you still talking about equality, sir. That means you truly believe all black people are beneath white people. They should seek, quote unquote, equality from white people, because that's what black Americans are conditioned to do. So now He doesn't even know how to code switch. So look at how Gabs is looking at him. Look at how they are looking at him. Awkward. Very, very awkward. I'm just saying. But let us let, O'Shea keep going.
Blacks ain't talking about me. Give me the white girl over here like Lizzo. I'll take it. I don't deserve no parity. And that's why you will never reach the Dubai level. You will never reach the Emirati level. You will never reach the Oman level. Because when the Arab world come together, you cannot go to Qatar and not face.
So, do you guys see where this conversation is going? So O'Shea want to low-key talk smack about Ugandan and Africans, but he is passing it off like, oh, the N-word. What is the N-word got to do with Ugandans in Uganda? But now we would never be like Oman. The Uganda say they're trying to be like Oman. Uganda wants to be like Uganda. That's all. So if you want to have that conversation, just go ahead, but you don't have to, try to give Uganda a backhanded compliment, taking shots. I just see this as taking shots. You don't need to be passive aggressive. Just lay it out, player.
Emirati, or Oman, or Jordan. But the blacks will sell you out for $5 for a white woman that white man won't even take. And we be holding her hand here in the Acacia Mall, thinking it's cool.
Well, they're sold
I'm gonna tell it today. Is it true?
It's facts. It's facts. I mean, you have to look at the cultural disparities, right? Mm-hmm. You have to really look at it from that perspective, because I feel like, when you come from a background, like usually people ask me, my oldest daughter, the mother's Italian Irish, right? And they ask me about interracial, you know what I'm saying? And they've been coming, they came here for like 4 years straight. I've been coming back home, and then I'm in like this whole Pan-African space. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we know. We're gonna get you.
You know what's gonna happen.
We're going to get you. Oh yeah. I'm hard body too, so I got some questions for you after the podcast, brother.
But what I was gonna say is that, on the other hand,
and that's another thing. The blacks, like, for example, they even have like Dr. Umar and others. They really think it's funny how they think you owe them an explanation if you choose a white woman or have mixed child. It's like, dude, are you gonna pay to raise this child? You're gonna pay for this woman? You're gonna do all this? So if you are not the one responsible for this, taking care of my child, you need to, zip it and keep it pushing. If you were the one that pays my bills, feed me and my child, then you can have an opinion. But it is rather disrespectful. Like, that's the thing. Why would anyone want to be a part of a society, a group that is this disrespectful? In our culture, especially, imagine somebody coming to you. You have a wife, but she's not black. Oh, it's not from your tribe. And they're trying to, chastise you, telling, oh, how dare you marry this person? She's not from this culture, blah, blah. Like, we don't have that. There's respect between men. But I notice, just like Dr. Umar, he talks to this black man. It's no respect. He talks to them like they're his kid. Like, he puts all of them in the same group. We should do this. You shouldn't marry a white woman. It's just silly. It's so hard to be a man being part of that group. You're not a man if another man, thinks they can boldly come and speak on who you choose to be with. I dare any man, Dr. Umar, you name them, bring them to me. I would tell them that I find no issue in marrying a white woman, and especially if I am of different race. Those are those people's preference. It don't matter how you feel, you like it or not. You don't even know these guys. How can like what? You don't have anything going on in your own life? Like what's going on? Why would you care about the type of woman another man chooses to be with? What are you, a girl? What, you wanted to marry the guy? Like, what's going on? I mean, at this point, this is becoming a bit creepy. No, seriously. Because for me, if you see me, if I'm with a white woman, you come trying to question me, I would think you just want my white woman. And if you want my white woman, just say so. There's no need for you to try to bring all this kind of talk. And if you tell me that you want my white woman, I would take it as disrespect. You cannot even wait for me to go in the bathroom. Like, what's going on here? Okay, let's continue.
I definitely see the way that, Africans that are on the continent here, let me actually just, be very direct, and their exposure to what they call class and opportunity or whatever is presented by the different, which by if white folks show up, they're like, they got the money, even if they're poor as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know how many poor Ugandan white guys in Uganda are writing books about how many women they slept with here?
Yo, listen, man, if I wanted to make a good business right now, it would be like hooking chicks up to white guys. You know what I'm saying?
Would run the clients.
I have a lot of clients. Right?
Of course, you would have.
And so at the end of the day, you see that the complex is in what was presented as the trophy, and that goes back to the image complex.
Hey, this is what's funny. I'm enjoying the conversation because why do you guys, I don't understand, why do you guys take these guys O'Shea and others that say they're Pan-Africanists, why do you guys take them serious? No, for real. O'Shea just gave us example of Tariq being pretty much, he's saying he's his role model. Look at Tariq. Did O'Shea ever talk about, Tariq having a mulatto wife? She ain't black. You guys seen her? Oh, has he ever talked about, Phil having a white Hispanic wife? So these people are very, very hypocritical, very hypocritical. So they see everybody's, white or non-black wife. But I bet you Tariq would say she's a light-skinned black, just like Phil say the wife is light-skinned. She got African. Oh, isn't all people from Africa? I think even Hitler's great-great-great-great-grandparent, I heard, is from Africa too. What difference does that make? But let's continue.
Complex. You know what I'm saying? You don't praise yourself, so you will aspire to touch what you praise. You know what I'm saying? And so if it's whiteness that you're praising, if it's whiteness that's held on a banner, right, you're going to try to emulate, assimilate until you get validated. And what's killing a lot of our people is seeking validation from such a misinformed space. And so we have to look at it from that perspective. Like, I understand clearly my cultural identifiers. So when I move, it doesn't matter like how I move with my interracial space of, raising my children and all of this stuff. I've raised them to understand where they're coming from and what they value culture as, and also reflect them back to their other cultural identities. But the idea that most people just treat it as a complex of opportunity. Oh, let me find a white chick because that will be my breakthrough. You know what I mean? There's so many of that. And at the same time, you been to Ginger?
What, about twice?
Yeah, because Ginger's the capital of these conversations, whereby white women have cracked the code of flooding into Ginger. Yeah, you know what I mean? They did a documentary about it.
Really?
You know what I mean?
I'm not going there, brother.
Yeah.
I'm a pro-black, but I can't get caught about there, brother.
White women go shopping for men in Ginger like they're going to the dealership.
But he excited though. He want to go to Ginger. Yeah. I get real.
So you guys see the example. So yeah, the white women have discovered it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, they go there, they have a good time.
Oh yeah, you're exactly that type too, man.
He ready to walk there.
You're exactly
you real big one too. Yeah.
Yes,
I will take a hint tonight.
All right, guys. It's over 3 hours. I'm not gonna open the lines, but we have few minutes left for this video. I'm gonna make sure this one I finish it. So I will finish it in the next show, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll finish it, and I have another show. Then I would open up the line. Remember where we are, and those of you that are coming to watch, if you want to call in tomorrow, I would open up the line. Please don't forget to like the video. As you guys know, this is educational purposes, okay? Educational purposes. And guys, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying O'Shea shouldn't bring these conversations. It's great that he keeps insisting on insisting on bringing these conversations. which is cool, which is good. It's not about, because some of you might be like, oh, Afridam is speaking on O'Shea. No, I want him to bring more of these conversations because he is representing the blacks. One thing about the blacks, they're gonna come and speak their mind, whether it's correct or it's antithetical, opposite of what other people see as the truth, they would still speak it. So that's pretty refreshing. 86 Lions say, what conversation? Okay. Oh, DG, we've been here 3 hours, but tomorrow I'll open up the lines sooner so we can, enter the conversation right away without, wasting time. No waste of time. But as you guys know, it's been 3 hours. Please make sure you hit the like, and we will be back here tomorrow if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, as Jesse Lee Peterson would say. So until then, I would close out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Love you both just as much.
Oh, yeah.
It's a relief. Thank you, Mums. Hit the play button.
I have a major announcement right now. The 1st of July is White History Month. So the whole month is White History Month from now on. Happy White History Month.
It's White History Month. I'm gonna celebrate with my friends. It's White History Month. So be sure to tell everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. This month's gonna be White History. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna celebrate American. It's White History Month, and I'm gonna scream it to everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate, but this month's gonna be